One early morning in a dormitory, a female voice rang out, hurriedly urging her roommate. Hurry up, the campus fair is about to end. Under the constant urging, the other girl had no choice but to get ready in a hurry, but she didn't forget to salvage the situation. Wait a moment, I need to put on my lipstick. Seemingly unable to wait any longer, the group of friends decided to go ahead. One person called back, Zishi, we're leaving now. Another, more considerate friend looked at the bed with its drawn curtains and gently reminded her. Zishi, we're leaving now. If your tooth still hurts today, don't take any more toothache medicine. It's been so long and it's still not better. I'm afraid it's not a dental problem. You should go directly to the hospital for a checkup. The friend standing by the door started to complain. I really envy Zishi. In this hot weather, we have to struggle to go out for job interviews, while she just needs to stay in the dorm and write her novel. Another person, looking impatient, urged them on. Let's go quickly. The dorm head is rushing us. The other girl continued to grumble. Once she becomes a full-time author, she won't have to worry about work at all. Hearing this, one friend suddenly noticed something unusual. Speaking of which, have you guys noticed? It seems like she hasn't made a sound for a long time. Isn't she supposed to be typing? Someone else guessed she's probably asleep. She stayed up late writing her novel last night. At that moment, on the curtained bed, she was clutching her chest. Her face contorted in extreme pain. Her forehead was beaded with sweat, and her breathing was heavy. She only managed to utter one weak word, help. Her computer screen was still on, displaying messages from her editor. We've worked together for 3 years. I know this is your first novel. It means a lot to you, and you don't want to say goodbye to the characters, but a work can't be written for a lifetime. You should also read people's comments. Continuing to write the story in this direction really won't work. You should just end it. At the same time, malicious comments about her work filled the screen. Please write with some heart. It's full of messy typos. I could probably write better than you with my feet. Started this pit 3 years ago. Now it's over 2,000 chapters and I'm sick of reading it, but it's still not finished. This story was good and gripping when it started 3 years ago, but now it's just boring. Is this author an elementary school student? The later parts are written so poorly. Just give a male lead and ending already. This account has been spammed too much and is temporarily banned from commenting. Just then, a call came from Ding Zaexian. She struggled to reach for her phone with all her might. Her hand hovered in midair. Then she gradually lost consciousness and collapsed, unconscious. The scene changed, and she found herself lying on a strange bed. Zishi's eyes snapped open, and she sat up, telling herself, I'm still alive. I thought I was a goner. I can't stay up all night writing manuscripts like this anymore. She recalled the moment she fainted and chuckled to herself. If I had really died, everyone would probably think I committed suicide out of despair for being rushed to finish the ending so much. Zishi's hand unconsciously rested on her chest. She pressed it lightly a few times and wondered, what's this that's so soft and bouncy? She suddenly pulled away the blanket wrapped around her. She was surprised, with a hint of amusement. Since when did my 34A cup get so big? Suddenly, a shirt was thrown straight at her face. A tall figure appeared, and a man's annoyed voice rang out. Hey, put on some clothes. She stared blankly at the strange man and asked awkwardly, Who are you? He turned back and said in a harsh tone, breaking into someone else's house. I should be the one asking you that. Get dressed quickly. Hearing that, she asked in confusion, Your house? Am I not in the dormitory? Suddenly, she froze as she realized something. Wait, why is this scene so familiar? It seems like the man urged again, Don't dawdle, get up. Suddenly, an egg fell from midair, hit the ground and shattered. From inside, a chick holding a book appeared and cheerfully announced, Hello, author of the novel by Zishi. Welcome to the world you created. It's a pleasure to meet you. I am your editing system, number 521. Flipping through the book, the chick continued. Next, I will introduce. A panicked she quickly interrupted the chick. Wait, do you mean I've transmigrated into the novel I wrote? The chick hurriedly replied, That's right. Hearing the confirmation, she trembled. Does that mean I'm really dead in the real world? Seeing the girl was about to cry, the chick quickly explained, That's right. However, as long as you can complete the mission here, you'll have a chance to return. She, as if grabbing a life raft, asked loudly, What is the mission? The chick said decisively, Finish the novel. As soon as it finished speaking, it pointed to the man before them and explained. Because the novel was dragged on for too long, the characters accumulated a lot of resentment, which gave birth to this world. Only by completing the ending can you return to the real world. Hearing the words, Finish the novel, Zishi flew into a rage, lunging forward to grab the chick by the neck and yelling. Why is it that whether in reality or in the novel world, you editors are all rushing me to finish? finish. The chick struggled, not forgetting to retort, "It's because you're a bad writer." "What does that have to do with me?" She furiously scolded. "Do you have any manners?" After that, she turned back and resentfully punched the bed repeatedly, declaring pitifully, "Damn it, I don't want to finish it. By she would rather die than submit." Just then, the male lead's sharp and handsome face came into clear view. The chick seized the opportunity to cheer she up. It said, "But take a closer look. This is the male lead you wrote." Seeing that top-tier face, she was immediately swayed. She thought to herself with delight. Treating it as a dream isn't impossible. I have to finish it anyway. A trip through my novel world isn't a loss. After all, the male lead is handsome. After sitting for a moment, she began to think seriously. She wondered, however, isn't this the second chapter of Cooking the Raw Rice? Didn't you say I'd experience it from beginning to end? But I haven't experienced anything. The little chick beside her explained awkwardly. Well, the first chapter was too spicy, so it got locked. She, looking utterly fed up, yelled, "Can you make any sense at all? I've transmigrated, and I still can't escape having my chapters locked? What's the point if I can't even eat the meal I cooked?" The chick quickly advised, "If you don't have the chance, just create one for yourself. Don't worry." Hearing this, she excitedly grabbed the chick's hand and said, "You're right. I'm the author of the novel. Why would I be afraid of not being able to fix my own story?" At this point, she began to recall the plot. This is a typical novel. Wrong elevator, wrong house, one night stand, then a baby. Before me is the second chapter of the novel, with a drunk female lead accidentally sleeps at her handsome neighbor's house. The plot of this chapter is to explain to the male lead her identity as his neighbor, as well as the reason she ended up in his house. She confidently told the chick, "Simple. Let's start." As if receiving an order, the chick shouted, "Then I'll start now." Time rewound. The man, still with an annoyed expression, yelled, "You, get out of my house now." She looked up at him radiantly and began to speak. But right at the crucial moment, she completely forgot her lines. She blurted out in confusion, "Damn it, what were my lines?" At this moment, the male lead maintained his gloomy expression, looking at She. She immediately looked flustered, only managing to stammer out the word "I." Inside, she was already screaming for help. "Help me. This story has over 1,000 chapters. Who can remember what lines I wrote for the female lead 3 years ago?" To save the situation, she awkwardly explained, "I'm your upstairs neighbor. Last night, I was drunk and accidentally came to the wrong door." She continued to whisper to herself. Anyway, the reason was getting the door wrong, so I might as well just say it directly. After hearing her answer, he decisively retorted, "Lies." The male lead approached She and said in a low voice, "I was going to let you go, but now I've changed my mind." He held up his phone, which had already dialed the police number, his tone decisive. Breaking into a private residence for indecent purposes should be enough for a few-year sentence. Seeing this, She immediately raised her hand to stop him. "You can't be serious." Seeing the current situation, she couldn't stop wondering in her head. The male lead isn't playing by the script. Isn't this supposed to be a romance story? Why has it turned into a police report? She lunged forward, desperately begging the male lead. "I really didn't mean it. Please let me go. Besides, to be blunt, you didn't lose anything in this matter." Hearing that, he became even more annoyed and yelled, "If I hadn't been drunk, who would want to do that kind of thing with you?" Suddenly, they both slipped and fell on top of each other. Just then, a voice on the other end of the phone asked a question. Seeing this, the male lead hurriedly hung up. She immediately seized the opportunity and said loudly, "If you want to handle this privately, then let's handle it. Otherwise, I'll report you for raping a female student. It's true that I broke into a private residence, but if we're really counting, I'm the one who's at a disadvantage." He looked at her with annoyance and said, "All right, get off me first." Only then did she realize she was sitting on the male lead, and she blushed with embarrassment. After a while, the male lead had changed into an elegant suit. He coldly presented a contract and told she, "Sign this, and we'll consider yesterday's matter completely dropped. In the future, if I find out you've been spreading nonsense about this, you will be held legally responsible and face criminal charges. Furthermore, you will also have to pay compensation." Seeing this, she felt a little smug. "Very good. Worthy of the domineering CEO for my pen. Usually, people give money. How is he making money from this?" She said decisively as she signed. "Don't worry, I definitely won't go around spouting nonsense." However, she already had her own plans in mind. "Don't think I'm not resisting now, but you never know how I'll resist later. Hee." After taking back the contract, he said, "All right now." He immediately lifted she up and threw her straight out the door. She angrily watched the door slam shut and screamed in frustration. You. Before she could finish her sentence, her belongings were thrown straight out from inside the house. As she put on her shoes, she resentfully thought to herself, "This is infuriating. This is a character I created, my own child. How could I bear to hit my own son?" As if her anger hadn't subsided, she cursed inwardly. "I'll just have to wait until he pursues me later. Then I'll torture him to death." After saying that, she even threw in a kick to his door. Satisfied, she immediately scrambled. The male lead heard the noise and stepped out to check, while she was standing in a corner, smiling slyly. Suddenly, the chick appeared. Seeing Zishi's expression, it spoke lazily. "Hey, if I were you, I wouldn't be able to laugh right now." Seeing it appear, she called out cheerfully, "Chick." The chick then opened the system panel, and a screen appeared with its explanation. See that pending plot point to be completed? Although you reached a truce with the male lead, you didn't clearly explain the misunderstanding, so it counts as a failed mission. Progress is 0. On the screen, it displayed, "Mission failed and progress is 0. The panel's content, named by Zishi, gender female, age 22, plot completion point, explain her identity as a neighbor to the male lead. Recalling last night, reconciling with the male lead. Mission progress 1. Zishi looked at the system panel and asked quizzically, "What's that one on the progress bar for?" The chick explained, "The first chapter's locked plot point, spending a night with the male lead." After speaking, the chick turned to look at her with a weary expression. "I see the first chapter is locked, giving you a bit of a freebie. Otherwise, based on your performance just now, you probably wouldn't even be able to get started with the male lead." She pouted. "I just got here and haven't adapted yet. Just you wait, I will definitely complete it later." The chick replied, "All right, then I'll see how you do. The next plot point you need to complete is..." At the Zhou Group building, she stood in front of the building, dazed, then remembered. "I get it, the female lead comes to the company for work and coincidentally meets the male lead in the elevator." She began to recall the original plot. As the male lead and owner of the company, he thinks the female lead is stalking him. "If you want to anger me, then you've succeeded." The male lead irritably questioned the female lead. The female lead recounts her story of interning at the male lead's company. The domineering CEO and the new employee are so excited for their first real experience. The chick beside her reminded her, "That's right, you need to complete the plot, clearly explaining your relationship to the male lead." At this moment, the elevator doors opened, and inside was the male lead. The two met face to face. She forced a smile, looked at him, and greeted, "Hi." Suddenly, he rushed forward, pinning her against the elevator wall, his tone somewhat provocative. "If you want to anger me." Zishi's heart began to bloom, thinking excitedly, the novel's plot is about to begin. He then reached out to touch her lips. "Then you." Suddenly, he seemed to snap out of it with a huh, then unexpectedly reached out and squeezed Zishi's face. Seeing his strange action, her heart felt like it was breaking. She burst into tears to the chick. "Help, what is he doing? I remember I wrote lift her chin, not squeeze her face until she suffocates." The chick immediately explained. He was catching an insect. The original text wrote catch, not squeeze. One different word changes the meaning. You need to write more carefully. Hearing the explanation, she sat in a corner, sulking with a dejected look, and said, "How can even a typo become reality?" The chick beside her concluded, "As the creator of this world, every word you write becomes reality." Seeing Zishi's appearance, the chick also said with excitement, "Miss Bai, you still have a long way to go. My name is Zhou Yinshin. I am a CEO of a Zhou Group. I had a girlfriend whom I knew and dated for a year. To be precise, an ex-girlfriend. Last night in the room, looking weary, Yinshin drank the glass of wine, getting himself drunk. He recalled what had happened. We had broken up. I drank the glass of wine I had prepared for her, successfully getting myself drunk. Just then, the door burst open. A blurry figure appeared. In his daze, Yinshin thought to himself, "Last night, I had a dream, and I dreamed that she came back." He staggered up and hurriedly hugged the person in front of him, his voice filled with indescribable joy. "You're back." The girl in Yinshin's arms, full of doubt, asked back, "What?" As if he didn't hear, he just tightened his arms and gently placed a kiss on her lips. His tone was a pleading whisper. "Don't go." After speaking, Yinshin swept the girl up and walked towards his bed, recalling yesterday's actions. He just felt it was absurd. "Oh my God, it seems I just had a heart-stirring dream, but the dream I thought was beautiful was actually a nightmare. I hate it so much I wish the kind of woman who goes to the wrong house would never appear in this world." The scene shifts back to the present. She stands before him, smiling and greeting him. "Hi," Yinshin said in a low voice. "Unfortunately, things didn't go as I wished." At this moment, he stepped forward, reached out to lift her chin, his tone full of challenge. If you want to anger me, then you... Suddenly, Yinshin froze. His hand, as if with a mind of its own, reached out and squeezed Zishi's face. He was stunned, wondering to himself, what's happening? Why is my hand involuntarily squeezing her face? Can I even pull it away? Zishi quickly held her face and tried to pry his hand away. She mumbled, wait, I'll do it myself. When his hand left, a red mark was clearly imprinted on her cheek. Embarrassed, Zishi turned and ran away, tears streaming down her face, resentfully telling herself, so embarrassing. She quickly found a quiet place, patting her chest and lamenting. There's probably no novel author unluckier than me to fail a mission because of a typo. The chick beside her also spoke up to comfort her. Cheer up. It's already great that you didn't have to call 911 to sort out. Zishi immediately pulled herself together, her eyes firm as she said, failure is the mother of success. What's a little difficulty at the beginning? Third time's the charm. I will definitely succeed. The chick could only shake its head, looking worried about her upcoming journey. She quickly tied up her hair, got into a fighting stance, and declared heroically, all right, let's keep fighting. The chick frantically tried to stop her. Wait, aren't you supposed to be at work? She explained smugly. Who goes to work like a normal person? In a novel, who pays attention to such minor details? No author writes a novel about going to work. The chick had no choice but to ignore her and continue reminding her of the plot. The next plot point is the female lead meets the male lead at a coffee shop and is surprised to learn his identity as the CEO. She seemed unconcerned, continuing to indulge in sweets and praising them. The sweets here are really delicious. The little chick patiently continued. The female lead chases after the male lead to apologize, but ends up tripping and falling into his arms. Time passed. She started to get impatient, wondering with a bored expression, why isn't he here yet? Suddenly the shop door opened. Her eyes immediately lit up, and she said confidently, he's here. Yinshin walked in with a slightly annoyed expression, his assistant following behind him asking incessantly, CEO, were you afraid I couldn't buy coffee for you, so you came here to drink coffee yourself? Then he took out a card, his tone decisive as he spoke. Anyway, it's to buy coffee for the whole company. I was just afraid you wouldn't know how to calculate the discount. The surrounding employees began to whisper, that's the chairman of our company. So handsome. Yes, he's the son who inherited his father's business and a furniture factory from his grandfather. Within 3 years, he turned the Zhou Group into a leading company in the furniture industry, breaking the saying that wealth doesn't last 3 generations. They call him the 4th generation. She stood up, thinking to herself, everyone has finished their lines. It's time for me, the female lead, to make my move. Thinking this, she immediately rushed towards Yinshin, trying to execute the accidental collision to complete the plot's mission. But at the crucial moment, she realized in panic that her body was not obeying her commands. It automatically stepped back. Seeing this, she kept asking herself, how can I not control my own body? She looked at Yinshin awkwardly, only managing to utter, The chick beside her also looked helpless. It didn't stop there. Her body started moving towards the cashier counter. Inside, she was screaming for help. It's my body, but I can't control it. Under Yinshin's watchful eyes, she loudly requested, give me another kilo of cake. Realizing everything had gone completely off track, she cried inwardly, resentfully wondering, what is happening? How could I say that? Those are my lines. She was now relentlessly stuffing cake in her mouth, while her mind screamed in indignation. What is this, you beastly system? Why can't I control myself? Is the script bugged? The system screen coldly displayed a notification. Upon learning that man is the company CEO, by she immediately eats a kilo. The chick beside her shook its head, letting out a long, weary sigh. It's still a typo. Shocked was written as eats a big kilo. Every word you write will become reality. Hearing this, she glared angrily, trying to swallow the piece of cake as she yelled. So now I have to eat a whole kilo of cake? Just then, 2 female colleagues cast curious and doubtful glances in her direction, while 2 male employees beside them smirked mockingly. She thought heartbrokenly, can someone dig a hole for me to hide in from the shame? At the same time, she also thought to herself, it's fine. Luckily, these are all just passers-by in the novel who don't even have names. Just NPCs. Although her mind resisted, her body continued to betray its owner. Her hand ceaselessly brought cake to her mouth until tears streamed down her face. Glancing to the side, she froze when she discovered Yinshin was standing there. She cried inwardly, but the male lead saw it too. Her image in front of the male lead was shattered. How can I face the male lead in the future? Witnessing her stuffing her face, he shook his head and uttered a sentence full of disgust. So unhealthy, fat as a pig. Feeling wronged, Zishi rubbed the chick's head, whimpering as she complained. Did you see that? He turned his head away in disgust. He absolutely despises me now. Yinshin couldn't be bothered to care. He threw the card back to his assistant, saying in an irritated tone, hold the membership card carefully. If you still can't calculate the discount, you should go back to elementary school. I'm heading back first. Both Zishi and the chick were petrified by the scene before them. At this point, the chick reminded her in a serious tone, I think I should sincerely remind you that you cannot fail again. Time in your real world isn't static while you're in the novel world. It's still running. So you should hurry up and finish so you can go back. She was stunned and exclaimed, what? The chick patiently explained. Of course, the flow of time in the real world is much slower than in the novel world. A few months in the novel world is only a few minutes in the real world. But right now in the real world, you are in a state of cardiac arrest. It emphasized, if the heart stops beating for 4 to 6 minutes, brain damage will be irreversible. In a few more minutes, it will turn into biological death. The longer you stay here, the more danger you'll be in. Hearing the bad news, Zishi sobbed and said, I'm still young. I just graduated from university. I've never even held a man's hand. I don't want to die yet. Seeing her miserable state, the chick taunted. Seriously speaking, in the novel world, you're already a woman who has slept with a man. Those words made Zishi's face flush red, and her nose almost started bleeding. Refusing to accept her fate, she wiped her tears and declared heroically, no, I can't. I have to salvage this image. The chick beside her, still maintaining a nonchalant attitude, advised, there's no need to be in such a hurry. If not, you should just go to work. Hearing the words go to work, Zishi immediately waved her hands in refusal. I said I'm not going to work. A moment later, she regained her composure and considered carefully. After eating so much, I should first take a little walk, then think of a strategy to conquer the male lead later. She silently made a resolution in her heart. Tonight, I will definitely conquer him with my beauty and this charm. Looking at the pile of cakes, Zishi whined, I don't want to eat strawberry cake anymore. Night fell, and a steady knock sounded on Yinshin's door. He opened the door, frowning at the uninvited guest. Zishi appeared with a bath towel loosely wrapped around her body, her long, wet hair draped over her shoulders. She lowered her voice, trying to act coquettishly. My water has been cut off, and I only managed to wash my hair a little. It's not clean yet. Can I borrow your bathroom? Before she could get a response, the door in front of her was slammed shut mercilessly. As if a bucket of cold water had been thrown on her, she turned to the chick in a daze and asked, not beautiful, not attractive? Witnessing the humiliating scene, the chick commented thoughtfully, it seems you used a bit too much force. Standing in the drafty hallway, with only a flimsy towel and a drenched body, the cold quickly seeped into her skin, causing Zishi to sneeze continuously. Behind the door, Yinshin's mind was in turmoil. I think I heard her sneeze. She won't freeze to death, will she? She huddled down in a corner, her lips trembling as she lamented. It's so cold. To make it a bit more realistic, I even wet my hair. In the end, I couldn't even get through his door. Thinking about her current situation, she felt wronged and mumbled through her tears. When I wrote the novel, these approaches were clearly very effective, but why not when I'm experiencing them? I really can't keep failing. I don't want to die. Suddenly, the door creaked open. Zishi looked up to see Yinshin looking at her. His cold voice rang out, but with some of its harshness gone. There won't be a next time. Seeing this, she joyfully replied, Imachim, which left him speechless at the person before him. Yinshin reached his arm behind Zishi, slamming the door shut. His eyes bored into her, full of suspicion, as he asked, Are you really my upstairs neighbor? Hearing this, she put on a sincere expression and raised her hand to swear. It's true, a Chinese person wouldn't deceive another Chinese person. The moment the words left her mouth, Yinshin mercilessly pressed her hard against the wooden door. His voice deepened, cold and decisive as he said, lying again. If you're a neighbor, why is your water cut off, but mine isn't? Caught in her lie, she whimpered and hastily pulled out a bill, holding it in front of him, explaining through her tears, the overdue water bill hasn't been paid. Not stopping there, she even held out another stack of papers, listing a series of debts with a strangely proud attitude. Not just the water bill, but the electricity bill, property fees, all fees are overdue. Yinshin looked at the woman before him and sighed in exasperation. Does she look proud or what? At this, Zishi's expression changed, shifting to one of extreme pitifulness. To be honest with you, my grandmother is missing. To find her, I've spent a lot of money. That's why my family is now heavily in debt. Hearing this, he narrowed his eyes and interrogated. So you came to seduce me, wanting to get money from me. Is that it? Zishi hurriedly waved her hands in denial. You're kidding. How can matters of love be called seduction? She quickly reiterated her main purpose. No seduction, no seduction. I'm really just borrowing the bathroom. To show her sincerity, she gently patted the box in her hand, pleading, Here, I even brought this box of strawberries as a gift for you. Yinshin replied curtly, not eating. She persisted in persuading him. Then let's eat together. I can't finish such a big box by myself. In her mind, Zishi had already started scheming. The best way to forget unpleasant things is with a happy memory. Forget the pathetic image of me eating strawberry cake. Just remember the scene of us eating strawberries while my hair is still wet. Unexpectedly, Yinshin suddenly spoke, repeating her exact thoughts. Just remember the scene of us eating strawberries while my hair is still wet. She was startled, her eyes widening in surprise as she exclaimed inwardly. Huh? She screamed silently in her heart, full of frustration. Why isn't he following the novel I wrote? After leading Shi to the bathroom, Yinshan instructed her coldly. The shampoo and body wash are on the shelf and available. After giving instructions, he added a harsh sentence. After you're done showering, tidy up and get lost. Seeing Yinshan hastily turn his back, Shi thought in a panic. I had to struggle and beg so much just for him to let me in. After all the effort to get to talk to him, I can't just leave like this. She told herself with determination. I can't. No sooner said than done. She pretended to slip. Yinshin heard the commotion and had just turned to ask, by the way, but before he could finish his sentence, she had already fallen into him. The suggestive scene left Yinshin stunned. His mind was now filled with question marks. She hastily pushed him away and said flusteredly, I'm sorry. But before she could steady herself, she slipped and fell again. This time, it was a real fall. With quick reflexes, Yinshin rushed forward to catch her, not forgetting to remind her, be careful. Witnessing the clumsy but effective flirting attempt, the little chick standing by the side laughed with delight, continuously wiping its nosebleed. A moment later, the two separated, and he asked, Are you okay? While readying her towel, she quickly replied, I'm fine. Yinshin blushed, shyly handing her a handkerchief, and said, After you're done showering, use this to dry off. As she took the handkerchief, he also hurriedly left and slammed the door shut. Standing outside, Yinshin was still flustered as he recalled the soft feeling from just now. He walked over to the box of strawberries she had brought, picked one up, and pondered something. Meanwhile, inside the bathroom, she was so embarrassed she wanted to dig a hole and hide, chiding herself. By it was just a hug. What's there to be embarrassed about? Just then, the little chick appeared with a notification from the system. The system has detected that the current event and the novel's content are highly compatible, automatically activating plot mode. The novel's text will restrict the behavior of the male and female leads to avoid affecting the author's experience. By default, this will not be repeated. She asked in a daze, What compatible event? I haven't even done anything yet. Suddenly, Zishi heard a strange noise outside. A sense of doubt arose in her heart. What's going on? She pushed the door open in horror and rushed out. The sight that met her eyes was Yinshin foaming at the mouth. Strawberries were scattered all over the floor. She screamed at the top of her lungs. Zhou Yinshin. She shook him hard while calling out tremblingly, Zhou Yinshin, wake up. At this moment, the little chick explained. In the original passage, the male lead eats the strawberries given by the female lead. You wrote the word for strawberry as poisonous mushroom. Zishi's face was drained of all color as she asked worriedly, The male lead won't die, will he? The chick replied nonchalantly, That's hard to say. In such an urgent situation, she decisively lifted Yinshin by his armpits and said resolutely, The hospital is right nearby. Let me carry him there. With that, one person and one chick struggled to drag the large man. She panted and complained. He's just a paper person. How can he be so heavy? A while later, in a hospital room filled with the smell of antiseptic, Yinshin slowly opened his eyes. Seeing this, she breathed a sigh of relief. You're awake. He glanced at the woman standing beside him, his voice hoarse and filled with anger. This woman, are you satisfied now? She froze for a moment, wondering what he was talking about. Then, as if she understood something, she nodded cheerfully, very satisfied. As she spoke, Zishi's eyes unconsciously swept over his firm chest muscles. Her cheeks flushed slightly. Yinshin froze, quickly pulling the blanket up to cover himself, thinking through gritted teeth. Where are my clothes? He turned and shouted, is your mind filled with nothing but that nonsense? I'm asking if you're satisfied now that I'm hospitalized? Oh, she flinched and quickly lowered her head, muttering, I'm sorry. He sighed helplessly, his gaze suddenly landing on her as he frowned. You went out dressed like this? She was bewildered, Without another word, Yinshin grabbed his coat and threw it over, his tone reproachful. You knew to get clothes for me, but you didn't remember to get any for yourself? He ordered gently, put it on. Zishi blushed and said shyly, you're so nice. Yinshin flicked her forehead and replied coldly, I'm just doing what anyone would do. Don't get any ideas. As for you appearing before me time and again, pestering me, I'll settle that score with you later. She quickly put on the coat, her voice full of grievance. I didn't mean to bother you. I'm an intern at the Zhou Group. Today, I went to work during the day. Who knew I would run into you in the elevator? Yesterday, there was a company party and I got drunk and accidentally went to the wrong floor. She hastily clarified further. I also don't know how I ended up getting into your apartment. Maybe your door wasn't closed properly, so I was able to get in. Anyway, I'm not lying. You can call your secretary to check. She put on a pitiful puppy dog face, silently pleading, believe me, please, please. Yinshin turned his face to the side and said indifferently, take the mobile phone out of my coat pocket. Hearing this, she backed away in extreme fear. What are you planning to do? Don't tell me you're calling the police again. Looking at she in front of him, he thought, how many years in prison would one get for unintentional poisoning? Then, Yinshin suddenly pulled her hand and scolded, you idiot. Taking advantage of her surprise, he took the phone himself, dialed a number, and called. Hello. Seeing the scene before her, she trembled with fear, tears welling up as she thought, he's not calling the police. So who is he calling? Just then, the chick appeared, cheering, special good news. The system has detected that the male lead has chosen to trust the author. A system panel appeared. Congratulations to the author for achieving the objective. Misunderstanding explained. Identity revealed. 20 points accumulated. The system now explained. Points can be used for a lottery draw in the prize pool to receive special skills to assist the author in completing the mission. Suddenly, a card appeared in her hand, and she was so happy she wanted to cry. After so many days of being suppressed, she can finally hold my head high. Yinshin's voice pulled her back to reality. Hey, she snapped back to her senses and quickly responded. Were you calling me? Looking at she's dazed expression, he shook his head in frustration. What are you spacing out for? Then held up his phone as signal. I've already called my secretary. You can go now. She was stunned, wondering to herself, I've achieved my goal. Why is he still kicking me out? At night in the hospital, with just a man and a woman, it's such a good time to make a move. Could it be that he really has no interest in me? Thinking of the bleak future, she slumped and sighed to herself. If he keeps being like this, how can we develop our feelings later? On a night of endless, drizzling rain, she stood shivering in front of the hospital gate, letting out a heavy sigh as she watched the downpour. Being kicked out was miserable enough, but now it was also raining. Suddenly, an umbrella from behind sheltered her head. Zishi's heart leaped with joy. Could it be that Zhou Yinshin noticed the rain, took pity on me, and came to see me off? She spun around, a radiant smile just blooming on her lips. I knew it, but that smile immediately froze when she recognized the person holding the umbrella. Zishi's mouth twisted as she said awkwardly, "It's you." The man politely introduced himself. "Hello, Miss Bai Zishi. I am CEO Zhou's secretary, Wang Xiaoming." He pushed the umbrella handle in her hand and explained, "CEO Zhou asked me to give you an umbrella." Zishi took it, smiling on the outside as she said, sorry to trouble you. But inside she was already crying a river and silently cursing. Just giving me an umbrella? I hate this dense block of iron. Seeing Xiaoming open another umbrella, she blurted out, Are you gonna take me home?" He smiled and shook his head. "No, I'm just gonna CEO Zhou's house to get something." The blunt answer made Zishi blush with embarrassment, silently blaming herself. I really shouldn't have asked. In the hospital room, Yinshin stood by the window, holding a glass of water, his pensive gaze fixed on the rain. The door opened, and Xiaoming walked in to announce, "CEO Zhou, I'm back." He asked in a cold voice, "Did you give it to her? Did she say anything?" He quickly replied, No, I told her you didn't want to take her home, but we're just on your way to get something. Here are your slippers. After speaking, Xiaoming took out a new pair of slippers and handed them to his boss. His curious gaze glanced at the already tattered slippers under Yinshin's feet, and he wondered, I'm really curious how you managed to walk here in these slippers. How did your feet end up like this? Hearing this, he asked back, Are you asking me? The memory of Zi Shi's horrific dragging as she brought him to the hospital flooded back, his feet and the slippers scraping against the floor the entire way. Yinshin fell silent and dodged the question. I don't know which idiot did it either. At the same time in her apartment, She was curled up in her blanket, suddenly sneezing continuously. She mumbled, Why am I sneezing like this? I'm not catching a cold, am I? Early the next morning, the sounds of the alarm clock and the ringing phone overlapped chaotically. Shi, half asleep, answered the phone, Hello. Before she could even come to her senses, a roar came from the other end of the line. You didn't come to work yesterday, and now it's working hours, and you're still not here? I'm warning you, by Shi, if you're not at the company within half an hour, then don't even think about working here anymore. The chick beside her reminded her, Hurry up and get up for work. The ear-splitting scolding chased away her sleepiness. She slowly got up while complaining. The male lead's internship at the company is just to create more opportunities for the female lead and male lead to interact. It's a setting to serve the plot. But the male lead isn't at the company. So what am I going to the company for? Going to work will only delay my progress in guiding the male lead. Hearing this, the chick asked, Then what are you getting up for? She lifted her chin and declared smugly, Income. When I get to the hospital and see the male lead, even walls of bronze and iron won't be able to withstand my powerful strike. However, her heroic momentum was extinguished as soon as it was kindled. In the bathroom, out of paper, she cried out, Huh? A quick check revealed that everything from the running water to the food in the fridge was gone. She cried out in despair, It doesn't have to be this miserable, does it? There are still beans in the fridge. The chick flew over at this moment, pouring cold water on her. Have you, the author, forgotten? Your setting for the female lead is that she's a pitiful damsel who is searching for her missing father, is heavily in debt, and even her life is full of hardship and tragedy. If you don't go to work to earn money, you can't survive. Hearing the cruel reality she herself had created, Shi's eyes twitched with resentment as she said, Don't say any more. I can't go. In her heart, she still clung to a sliver of hope. I wrote this part of the plot about the company in passing. I arranged the female lead's job to be clerical work, a briefly mentioned part. So actually going to work would probably just be drinking tea and being a salted fish. But life is not a dream. At the office, the female boss looked at Shi with a sharp gaze. Sipping her tea as she said, Now that you've come to work on time, I won't make things difficult for you anymore. Let's talk about this issue. The last time you submitted some copy for the new family magazine, there were some problems. Her boss began to unleash a torrent of difficult requirements. The theme of this issue is nature. The text must be as flexible as a fish, lively, and emphasize the harmony between man and nature. At the same time, it must also be interesting, not mediocre, with a sense of nostalgia, classic, simple, and able to make a clear impression. After speaking, Shi's boss decisively ordered, You go and change it. After hearing this, she was utterly devastated. Is this torture? Seeing she was about to faint, the chick hurriedly shook her, saying in a panic, Snap out of it. You still have to earn money. Hearing the encouragement, she immediately rallied her spirits and declared resolutely, I can do it, right? She began to throw herself into the work, revising again and again, writing one version after another, all while angrily muttering, This is impossible. From morning till late at night, stacks of drafts piled up like mountains. She cried for help and despair. Save me. At the end of the day, she sat limply like a soulless corpse in front of the computer screen and mumbled, Today, I revised it 8 times, and in the end, she told me to use the first version. As she spoke, she silently recalled her boss looking at the pile of drafts and saying, Is that what you think? Then let's go with your idea. Recalling that moment, she just wanted to look up at the sky and lament, Just kill me now, torturing me for fun, and then picking the first version. Day after day, she was still stuck in the office. Unable to suppress her frustration, she jumped up and snapped, I've had enough. Is this a romance novel? This is more like a career novel. This place is no different from a prison that has been holding she captive for the past few days. She groaned wearily These past few days, I've been given a hard time by my manager, working my butt off at the company and doing overtime until midnight every day. It's just like being in prison. I can't even meet the male lead. If it weren't for his face on the magazine cover, I'm afraid I would have forgotten what he looks like. Looking at the colleagues around her engrossed in their work, she sighed wearily. Maybe I should change jobs? At this rate, I won't die of hunger, but of exhaustion. The chick beside her heard this and looked annoyed. So annoying. You're at the company. You can still meet the male lead here. If you change jobs, don't even dream of meeting him. Then the romance novel will really become a career novel. After a moment, the little chick also spoke comfortingly. Think it through, don't mind it anymore. You're just wasting time now, not getting anything good done. Hearing this, She's face crumpled, and she cried, while stomping her feet resentfully. Are you calling me useless? The chick looked at the scene before it and said wearily, I don't think you need a rush. If not tomorrow, then the weekend. If not tomorrow, then the weekend. On the weekend, you'll be free to go to the hospital to visit Zhou Yenshin. Hearing this, She's eyes lit up. She declared firmly, you're right. Tomorrow I'll put on beautiful makeup and go see Zhou Yenshin and give him a surprise. The next morning at the hospital, Shi and the chick were struggling to find Yenshin's room. Suddenly, a frantic scream rang out, don't run, stop. A doctor was breathlessly chasing a patient. She was still bewildered, not understanding what was happening, her mouth still mumbling Zhou, when she was suddenly slammed into by that patient. The impact sent her sprawling, and she only had time to exclaim, what, a ghost? And then there was a dry cracking sound. The doctors and nurses immediately surrounded her, a flurry of concerned questions ringing out. How is she? Is she okay? Quick, lift her onto the stretcher. Yenshin, who was looking at documents in a hidden corner, heard the commotion and frowned, wondering, did someone just scream my name? Xiaoming walked up to him with a smile and asked, I'll go see. Yenshin stopped him. No need, I saw friend. It's probably his patient who ran away. After speaking, he turned his back coldly and ordered him, go do as I said. Xiaoming replied with an okay. In the hospital room, she groggily opened her eyes. The young doctor beside her saw this and exclaimed, ah, you're awake. Looking at the strange man before her, she silently wondered, who is this handsome guy? At this moment, the doctor sheepishly announced, I have some bad news for you. Your leg is broken. Within the bad news is some good news. You're in the hospital, and the bone has already been set. The chick, perched on the young doctor's head, explained with teary eyes, that was Dr. Xiao Lu. You were just hit by his patient. Out of a sense of responsibility, he has been waiting here for you to wake up. So we learned that this is Dr. Xiao Lu, at which point he bowed his head apologetically. I'm sorry. It's because of me that your leg was broken, injuring you, so you can't move for 100 days, and you also have to stay here for a month. Hearing this, she asked again, I have to stay in the hospital? Xiao Lu replied, flustered, yes. The second time she heard the answer, she even shot up like a spring, her eyes wide. I have to be hospitalized? He nodded awkwardly, yes. At this moment, Xiao Lu was silently wondering, why does she look so happy? In contrast to his worried expression, Shi was celebrating internally. She tried to suppress her joy, pretending to be pitifully on the verge of tears as she asked, then what about my job? Xiao Lu hurriedly promised, I'll help you apply for leave, write up the medical report, and I'll bring all the medicine for your hospital stay to you. Hearing this, she was so moved, she hugged his leg. You're the first good person I've met in this world. Being hugged so suddenly, he replied flusteredly, You're too kind. You're too kind. After a moment, Xiao Lu also shyly said goodbye. Well, you should rest first. We have to get back to work. Then pulled the female nurse outside and whispered, this isn't good. Let's check her brain later. I feel like there's something wrong with her brain. The nurse was surprised. I don't think so. She seems to respond well. Shi, from behind, was still smiling and waving goodbye. Bye-bye, everyone. When both the nurse and the doctor were out of sight, she looked gleefully at her casted leg, grinning as she said, a leg like this is pretty good. I don't have to go to work, and I can stay in the hospital and see Zhou Yenshin every day. At this moment, the little chick beside her poured cold water on her. You really won't be able to see him. From what I know, Zhou Yenshin just completed his discharge procedures. Zixi skremed. What? The chick slowly explained. He just had food poisoning. A week of rest was more than enough. Besides, even if he hadn't been discharged yet, you two wouldn't have been able to meet. You still have to stay in the hospital for a month. She looked up to the heavens and wailed in frustration. Did I offend the god of marriage? Why is it so hard to just fall in love? At a fish tank, Xiaoming was holding a document and announcing the schedule. Tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. is the regular meeting, 12 p.m. is lunch with investors, 3 p.m. is the new product seminar. There's also, he suddenly stammered at this point. Yinxin coldly interrupted. What are you hesitating for? Speak, Xiaoming explained awkwardly. Miss Shi Jin called today. She wants to ask you out for dinner. That name made him pause. A memory of a woman's somewhat indifferent back from years ago suddenly returned, along with her words. I don't want to get married. Let's break up. His train of thought was cut short by the rude shout of the fish stall owner. Have you finished choosing yet? It's been half a day. Are you buying or not? Yinxin calmly pointed at a fish in the tank. Look at this fish, then he analyzed clearly. Its left fin has a 0.5 millimeters long wound. The right fin will therefore be used with higher efficiency. This means the meat on both sides of the fish will not be even, the quality will be different, and the flavor won't be perfect when cooked. After hearing this, the fish stall owner got angry and growled. So, Yinxin decisively made an offer. 50 cents off per caddy. Xiaoming, standing beside him, was so embarrassed he wanted to find a hole to crawl into. Holding the purchased fish, he waved goodbye. See you next time. The owner angrily waved his hand. Don't bother. On the way back, he cautiously asked again. President Zhou, what about the dinner? Yinxin raised the fish and replied nonchalantly. I have my dinner. I'm not going. Xiaoming could only say resignedly. Oh, at the hospital, Zishi was gleefully enjoying a sumptuous spread of food. As soon as she put a piece of fish in her mouth, her eyes widened as she choked on a bone, coughing violently. Seeing this, the little chick silently pulled a white sheet over her, its tone full of regret. Rest in peace. She suddenly sat up and yelled. No way. She began to lament. I've had such bad luck lately. Never mind being hit by some psycho. For the past month in the hospital, my life has been worse than death. She shuddered as she recalled the series of disasters. Going to the bathroom, someone threw a rotten durian at my head. Going out for a walk, I got hit by a sewer pipe under repair. Lying in bed, playing on my phone, I even got struck by lightning. My luck is too terrible. I wanted to go to the fountain to wish for a change of fate, but ended up falling right in. She sighed in frustration and helplessness. Am I going through a tribulation? Even the 81 tribulations don't have this many repeated incidents. At this point, the chick explained seriously. That's because you haven't appeared before the male lead for too long. Now the male lead is engrossed in his work and has forgotten you. You've become a redundant existence in the plot. The novel's world is rejecting you. If you can't return to the position of the female lead, you will continue to face unexpected accidents and even die. Once you die in the novel, you will fall into a void between worlds, and you won't be able to return to the real world. She cried out in alarm. What is the meaning of your world's existence to oppose the novel's author? I'm the one who wrote it, after all. You shouldn't treat me so horribly. Hearing this, the chick comforted her. What are you afraid of? The cast on your leg has been removed. You could be discharged immediately. As long as you work hard to complete the plot points from now on, all of this can be avoided. Hearing that, she also clasped her hands in prayer. I hope everything goes smoothly from now on. I am begging. Finally, the day of her discharge arrived. She walked out of the gate full of fighting spirit. I'm finally out of the hospital. Zhou Yinxin, here I come. Suddenly, a group of bodyguards in black roughly pushed her aside. Move aside. She stumbled, staring blankly at the ostentatious crowd in front of her, wondering to herself. What's the situation? Who is this person? Why such a big display? What is this? An elegant woman was walking towards Yinxin. She squinted to get a better look and then realized with a shock. It's the second female lead I wrote. Yinxin looked coldly at the surrounding bodyguards, his tone sharp as he asked, bringing so many bodyguards here, are you planning to beat me up? Shi Jin, the eldest daughter of the Shi group, took off her sunglasses and smiled gently. How could that be? I'm not the type to take revenge on your ex-girlfriends after a breakup. Isn't this because you refused to have dinner with me earlier? I was afraid that if I came today, your security would stop me and not let me in. The chick whispered into Shi's ear. Zhou Yinxin's ex-girlfriend, Shi Jin. Yinxin gave a faint smile. How could that be? I'm not the kind of petty man who would throw his ex-girlfriend out the door. Hearing this, Shi Jin naturally stepped forward and linked her arm with his. That's good then. Before we were partners, we were still classmates. And since we're classmates, there's no reason we can't have a meal together. He pulled out his phone to check the time and replied curtly. I have a meeting later. Let's eat in the company cafeteria. She turned and waved to her bodyguards. You all can go back first. The group replied. Yes, ma'am. Before leaving with Yinshin, Shijin didn't forget to throw She a challenging look. She thought angrily to herself. Here she comes, the clingy ex-girlfriend. The chick analyzed worriedly. According to the original plot, by now the male lead should have some good feelings for you. When the ex-girlfriend returns to find him, he would be torn between the two. But now, you and the male lead have made no progress, and the ex-girlfriend has shown up. Aren't you doomed? She clenched her fists, her eyes burning with determination as she declared. How could I be doomed? For the sake of my own life, I have to tie down the male lead. The chick asked again, what do you want to do? She announced confidently and loudly. Let's go, we're going up with him. In the company cafeteria, she calmly found a seat and prepared to eat. Seeing this, the little chick urged impatiently. Why are you still sitting down to eat? Hurry up and go over there. Aren't you here to separate them? She smirked with a confident expression and explained. In CEO stories, there are 3 precious scenes. Do you know what they are? The chick beside her replied. I don't know. Then she continued to list them. One night stand, pregnancy, and running away with the baby. She said smugly, we've already had the one night stand. Can pregnancy be far behind? The chick was horrified. You want to fast forward to the pregnancy plot to tie down the male lead? She glanced at Yinshin and Jin eating in the distance and nodded. That's right. You said before that similar plot points follow a template. I remember a scene where the male lead and the second female lead find out the female lead is pregnant, and the 3 of them have a tense confrontation. It just so happens there's an audience today. Just as she finished speaking, she suddenly spat out the piece of meat she had just swallowed. The chick praised her admiringly. Wow, I have to say your acting skills have really improved. Grimached. No, I haven't even started yet. I really feel nauseous. What on earth is with this bone? Saying that, she covered her mouth and rushed to the restroom, complaining as she went. No, I can't take it. This strange behavior caught Yinshin's eye. Shijin noticed his distraction and asked, Yinshin, what are you looking at? He replied quickly, nothing. In the restroom, after dealing with her nausea, resurrected herself. Am I moving the plot along too quickly? I wonder if Yinshin will overreact. Just as she stepped out, her wrist was suddenly grabbed by someone. Before she could recover, she was dragged away by Yinshin, who ordered, follow me. Both she and the little chick thought gleefully. This iron-willed straight man is really sharp. He took the bait. In a corner of the stairwell, Yinshin opened his hand and gave her something. This is for you. As he held her hand, she blushed in confusion. Huh. Looking closely at the thing in her hand, the smile on her lips vanished. It was a common household item, digestive aids. He added nonchalantly, isn't your stomach upset? Take a few of these. She's mouth twisted, forcing a professional smile. Thank you. Because of you, all 4 seasons are warm. Inside, she was already screaming. Big brother, weren't you supposed to talk to me about the baby? If you were just giving me medicine, why drag me to this quiet corner? The chick sighed deeply. It seems you failed again. Unwilling to accept it, she declared heroically. No, she will never give up. Then she sighed. Actually, my stomach hasn't been well lately. I can't eat, and I vomit often. Finishing her words, she decided to lay her cards on the table. She clutched her stomach and pretended to dry heave. Bleck, making the chick on the side cover its nose in disgust. How gross. After a moment, she said softly, I'm pregnant, and the child is yours. Yinshin was stunned. What did you say? Just then, Shijin suddenly appeared and shouted. What did you say? You're having a child? Zixi nodded in confirmation, thinking to herself, here it is, the tense confrontation. It's late, but it's here. Hearing this, she angrily rushed forward and raised her hand to slap her. You shameless homewrecker. Shijin's hand was stopped midair, held tightly by Yinshin. He declared firmly, this happened after you said we should break up. I didn't break any laws, and she is not a homewrecker. Unexpectedly, Shijin slapped Yinshin straight across the face, leaving both she and the chick stunned, cowering in a corner in fear. She trembled as she pointed at his face. How laughable. I was thinking that I shouldn't have broken up with you that day, but now it seems my decision was the right one. You just want someone to marry you and have a child for your grandfather to see, even if that person isn't me. Yinshin lowered his head, his voice dropping. I am sorry. Shijin decisively turned and walked away, leaving behind a sarcastic blessing. You don't need to apologize to me. I wish you the best now that you've gotten your way. Your grandfather must be satisfied too. As her figure disappeared, she breathed a sigh of relief. Phew, it's over. The plot is back on track. For a period of time, she won't be able to come and disturb the progress of my relationship with Zhou Yinshin, she said radiantly. Next is the time for me and Zhou Yinshin to be sweet with each other. While she was feeling smug, she suddenly noticed Yinshin staring at her. His voice was full of suspicion. You seem very happy. Zishi was startled and thought to herself, crap, I got so smug I forgot my character. She quickly dropped her face and pretended to be pitiful. How could I be happy? I just graduated from college. I don't even have a boyfriend, and suddenly I'm going to be a mother. I really don't know what to do. How pitiful. I'm just a delicate little flower. Hearing this, Yenshin coldly declared, then that's perfect. I'm not happy about it either. While it's still small, let's go to the hospital and get rid of it. Zishi was stunned and screamed in panic. A storm was raging in her heart. Calm down a bit. Aren't you going to help your grandfather fulfill his wish of having 4 generations under one roof? The subsequent plot doesn't seem to be like this. In the original work, after Zhou Yenshin found out by Z she was pregnant, he would give Bai Zishi a sum of money so she could have the child with peace of mind. But now, Yenshin was suggesting with utmost seriousness, while it's still small, let's go to the hospital together and get rid of it. Hearing this, Zishi's heart cried a river. Both the child and the money were gone. Sitting in the car, she tried to salvage her last bit of hope, meekly justifying. Actually, I don't think I'm necessarily pregnant. Maybe we shouldn't waste the hospital's resources. In the front, Xiaoming, who was driving, had beads of cold sweat forming on his forehead. Yenshin stood his ground. His tone was firm, allowing no refusal. We should still go get it checked. It's for your own good and mine. Seeing his firmness, Zishi's inner self screamed furiously. No, it's only good for you. It's not good for me. She shuddered, imagining the scene of lying on a cold operating table, anxiously thinking. Ever since I was little, I haven't even dared to get a shot, let alone an abortion. Besides, if the child is gone, half of the subsequent plot will collapse. By now, Zishi was already in a state of utter confusion and panic. The plot has collapsed. How can I complete the mission and go home? The little chick beside her was also panicking, urging her repeatedly. Quick, think of a way. Just as the car stopped at a red light, she secretly calculated, as the art of war says, of the 36 stratagems, fleeing is the best. No sooner said than done. Zishi decisively opened the car door and bolted out, not forgetting to call back. Goodbye, sir. In her heart, there was only one thought. Run first, talk later. The sudden action left Yenshin stunned for a few seconds. When he came to his senses, he shouted loudly, "Bye, Zishi!" Suddenly, while crossing the road, Zishi's whole body froze stiff. She wondered in horror, why can't I suddenly move? Ding! The chick appeared with a notification. The new version has been updated. The system will automatically refresh in 5 seconds. Hearing this, Zishi was so angry she could spit blood, grumbling. You gotta be kidding me. Don't you guys in the system know how to pick a time to upgrade? Did it have to be in the middle of the road? Time seemed to stand still. Suddenly, a car was hurtling towards her at a terrifying speed. Zishi panicked and screamed loudly. Crazy chick, a car is coming. If I get hit and killed by a car during the upgrade phase, will the system compensate me? Watching the headlights get closer and closer, all her hard efforts from the past flooded her mind. Zishi silently lamented, full of grievance. I don't want to die. Move, let me move. Is it wrong for me to try so hard to live? Why is it so hard to just live a good life? When the car was just inches away, a firm hand suddenly reached out, pulling Zishi forcefully to the side. Yenshin rushed out and shielded her with his body, his deep, warm voice echoing in her ear. Be careful, don't be afraid. The driver managed to brake hard, but at that moment, both Yenshin and She were thrown aside and plunged into darkness. Xiaoxi, in her delirium, childhood memories flooded back. The image of her mother lying weakly on a hospital bed, looking at her and instructing. My Xiaoxi, don't be sad because of me. You must be brave and live well. Mom, Zixi startled awake. Seeing the stark white ceiling of the hospital room, she rejoiced silently. It's great, I'm still alive. Xiaoming pushed the door open and walked in. Seeing that she had opened her eyes, he exclaimed in surprise. Ah, you're awake. Zishi immediately sat up and asked anxiously. Secretary Wang, how is CEO Zhou? She thought to herself, I have to go thank him. The male lead saved my life. My son is truly so filial. However, Xiaoming stammered. CEO Zhou. His brain suffered a severe impact. He hesitated for a moment, then continued. He is now in a vegetative state. Zishi was stunned, as if struck by lightning. What? My male lead has become a vegetable. Memories suddenly flashed back to the past, at Zishi's mother's funeral. In the mournful atmosphere, by Z Shi, who was only 5 years old at the time, with swollen eyes, whimpered mom word by word. Her father, by Hai Chuan, stood beside her with a cold expression. The surrounding crowd began to whisper, their gossip reaching the child's ears. I heard she died saving this child. It was just an accident at first, but unexpectedly, post-operative complications appeared and she passed away. The child's father is still young. He'll probably remarry soon. Who says otherwise? He's a successful boss. Even if it's a second marriage, there are plenty of girls willing to throw themselves at his feet. Time flew by. When by Z she was 18, the conflict between father and daughter reached its peak. By Haichuan's roar echoed. By Z Shi, if you dare to leave, I'll cut off your cards. Zixi retorted defiantly. Who's afraid of you? She turned her head, wiped away her indignant tears, and shouted one last time. Use that money to raise your new wife and son. How could I, by Z Shi, not be able to support myself? A year later in the dormitory, Z Shi, now 19, was focused on typing on her computer. A reader left a comment with a suggestion. I've read the novel's outline. The male lead's character setting is too ordinary. Besides being handsome, rich, and deeply affectionate, is there anything else to add? Add some more characteristics to the character. She smiled, her fingers flying across the keyboard as she comfortably hummed in agreement. Add spending money like water. Spend money freely, and moreover, without needing anything in return. I hate the type of person who uses money to threaten others. After thinking for a moment, she continued typing. Also, he has a high IQ and absolutely cannot be seduced by a green tea bitch. It's best if his cooking skills are decent, but he doesn't drink, and he must have a healthy lifestyle. Oh right, most importantly, she thought to herself, I hope he can be a little selfish. When faced with danger, his first thought should be to protect himself, not be like my mother who sacrificed herself to save someone. Reality pulled her back to the hospital room, thick with the smell of disinfectant. Zishi vigorously shook Yenshin, who was lying motionless on the bed. Her voice cracked with fear. Hey, wake up. You're the main character. Her tears streamed down, soaking the bedsheet. Where's the main character's halo? How could he be so easily written off? Suddenly, an egg fell from the void and cracked open, and from inside, the familiar little chick emerged. Z, she was overjoyed. BNG, you're back. The chick preened its feathers, replying leisurely. I'm back, but you don't have to be so moved that you cry, do you? Z, she shook her head frantically, her trembling hand pointing at the person on the bed. No, it's not that. BNG, the male lead. He's become a vegetable. The chick shrieked in panic. What? It hurriedly checked Yenshin's body, muttering nonstop. I went for an upgrade. How did you manage to get him into this state? Z, she held her breath and asked, can he still be saved? After a moment of examination, the little chick shook its head decisively and delivered a blunt verdict. You might have to stay in this novel world for the rest of your life. No, with the male lead like this, there's no need for a female lead anymore. You might encounter many accidents in the next 2 days. Hearing this, Zishi's face turned deathly pale as she screamed. I don't want to star in Final Destination. The chick paced back and forth on the hospital bed with a pensive look. Let me think. Suddenly, it had an idea and said, that's right, the new system has some SSR cards. Do you want to try? Z, she was bewildered. What draw cards? The little chick explained. You previously earned 20 accumulated points for successfully advancing the plot. With these 20 points, you could draw 2 cards. Cards of different tiers will have different effects. If you're lucky enough to draw an SSR card, it's not impossible to turn things around. Like a drowning person clutching at a straw, Z, she was ecstatic. What are we waiting for? Draw. She tossed 2 virtual gold coins into the air. 2 sparkling cards appeared before her. Nervously flipping over the first one, words appeared on it. Commemorative card. This tour and souvenir are both proof of your visit. Please store me gently. Z, she asked, puzzled. What can this card do? The little chick also shook its head in confusion. Store it. She angrily threw the card to the ground, saying in frustration, isn't that just a thanks for coming card? The chick immediately reassured her. Don't be hasty, there's still one more. Z, she closed her eyes, muttering like she was chanting a sutra. SSR, SSR, SSR. She tremblingly flipped over the second card. A brilliant golden light shone out. On the card appear the words, Rewind card. Rewind past happiness. Only the feeling is no longer there. The chick was overjoyed. It's an SSR card. Rewind. With it, you can completely rewind the plot to any point you want. Z, she burst with happiness. So that means I can rewind time to before the car accident happened. Zhou Yinshin won't become a vegetable either. The little chick nodded vigorously. Right, but since it's a new card, no one has tested its effects yet. She suddenly burst into tears, startling the chick. Oh, why are you crying now? She was crying and laughing at the same time, her vision blurred by tears. I'm crying from joy. This is wonderful. Zhou Yinshin, we're both saved. Seeing the male lead's survival index plummeting, the chick urged frantically. The male lead is about to be crushed to death by you. Quick, quick, quick. Choose a point in time to return to. The male lead is really about to die. She was startled and snapped out of it, hurriedly activating the card in her hand. A long timeline appeared in front of her. The chick beside her urged impatiently. Which point is good? Hurry up. She scanned through the memories, her eyes showing a hint of hesitation. But then she took a deep breath, her finger decisively pointing to a bright spot on the timeline. Then, right here, she was startled, feeling a dizzying sensation as if she had just fallen from a great height. She looked around, a familiar scene appearing before her eyes. I'm back. Seeing Yinshin standing before her in the flesh, she couldn't contain her emotions and rushed forward to hug him, her voice trembling with joy. This is great. It really worked. We're both okay. Caught in the sudden hug, Yinshin's body stiffened. He frowned, pried her hands off, and scolded coldly. Just because I gave you stomach medicine doesn't mean I'm allowing you to get close to me. Despite being scolded, Zishi just smiled brightly and nodded repeatedly. MHM, I know. CEO Zhou was just practicing humanitarianism towards me. Seeing her unusually obedient attitude, Yinshin nodded in satisfaction. It's good that you know. Zishi breathed a sigh of relief, thinking to herself, looking at his current attitude towards me. I probably haven't mentioned the pregnancy yet. Just then, Shi Jin's voice cut through her thoughts. Yinshin, why are you here? She walked over, her suspicious gaze sweeping over the two of them. Yinshin was a bit flustered. Before he could explain, Zishi immediately bowed 90 degrees and said loudly, Thank you, CEO Zhou, for your generous assistance. I will repay this great kindness another day. With that, she turned and ran off as fast as the wind, leaving Yinshin standing there, stunned and confused about what had just happened. Shi Jin watched the young girls retreating back and asked curiously, Is she your employee? Yinshin, flustered, replied with a MM. She raised an eyebrow and remarked, quite energetic. He was about to reply, but suddenly a sharp pain shot through his head. Yinshin raised a hand to rub his temples, murmuring, Strange, why do I have a bit of a headache? That night at Zhou Yinshin's house, in a fitful sleep, he fell into that nightmare again. A chaotic scene, the sound of tires screeching on the road, and the image of himself rushing out to shield Zishi. Watch out! His own terrified scream in the dream startled Yinshin awake. He shot up in the dead of the quiet night, his forehead drenched in sweat, his breathing rapid and full of fear. A few days later, at the psychology department, Yinshin sat opposite Xiao Lu, a look of clear frustration on his face. I've had this dream for several nights in a row. That feeling of being on the verge of death is very real. Xiao Lu, a neurologist and his best friend, casually looked at some documents and spoke. What you think about by day, you dream of by night. I suggest you do something to shift your focus. Yinshin narrowed his eyes and thought. Xiao Lu, do you think it's possible I'm paying too much attention to what happened that night? Knowing she didn't intentionally break into my house, and after she was harmed that night, I develop a sense of guilt towards her. So in my dream, I see myself sacrificing myself to save her. Xiao Lu grinned and nodded. That's a possibility, so you could do something to shift your focus. Yinshin's face darkened. Don't you have anything else to say? Xiao Lu held up 3 fingers. Do something to shift your focus. Important things must be said 3 times. Hearing this, he shot up to his feet, adjusting his tie and not forgetting to let out a sarcastic remark. You make money too easily. If we weren't friends, I'd suspect you bought your degree for this job. Xiao Lu leaned back in his chair and sighed. The big boss doesn't understand the struggles of an employee. I'm just trying to make a living. Glancing at the clock, Xiao Lu's eyes lit up. Yes, it's time. I have to get off work. If you're not enthusiastic about getting off work, there's something wrong with your mindset. Yinshin, beside him, spoke up. I haven't said I'm leaving yet. Xiao Lu walked over and chummily put an arm around his shoulder, his tone slightly reproachful. Big boss, please understand an employee's desire to get off work. Come on, let's go for a few drinks. Yinshin shrugged his hand off and refused flatly. No, you know I get drunk easily, and especially after that night, I've decided not to drink anymore. Hearing the old matter being brought up, Xiao Lu asked curiously, I'm actually very curious about what the female student from that night is like. If she's not bad, since you've broken up with Shi Jin anyway, it could be a kind of fate. Yinshin said with a cold face, I'll give this fate to you. Do you want it? Xiao Lu immediately agreed. I do. If there's really a chance, I definitely want it. Being a single dog for 30 years, getting out of singlehood is a great thing. It's like a dream. Before his friend could finish his sentence, Yinshin had already turned and walked straight out the door, leaving behind a blunt remark. Then you can just keep dreaming. Xiao Lu called after him, full of dissatisfaction. Hey, look at you, not even letting me imagine it. Seeing Yinshin was already far away, he still tried to shout after him. When you get back, remember to do something to shift your focus, like practicing calligraphy. At the office, she was engrossed in writing a script. She tapped her pen while murmuring and analyzing. I feel that my previous failure to speed up the script's progress, causing the male lead's plot to deviate from the original work, was because the male lead's favorability towards me wasn't high enough. The little chick lying languidly beside her heard this and corrected her wearily. It's not that it wasn't enough, it's that there was none at all. Hearing this, she angrily crushed the pen in her hand. She took a deep breath and started planning. In short, he just doesn't like me enough. He won't agree to let me have the baby. So first, I have to increase his favorability. The chick lifted its head and asked, How are you planning to increase it? Zixi smirked confidently. Pulling out a notebook and placing on the table, she said excitedly, I just wrote a plan to win over the male lead. A plan to win him over? She announced grandly. Step 1. Create opportunities to be alone with him. First, I have to get a grasp of his whereabouts. Hearing there was fun to be had, the chick immediately perked up. Let's go see what he's doing. At the office of the Zhou Group, behind the glass door curtain of the director's office, two heads, one large and one small, were peeking inside. She looked at the man working intently, her eyes shining with a look of craving mixed with pride. As expected of the male lead from my extraordinary pen, his serious working appearance is so charming. Even the chick beside her nodded, its sparkling eyes showing no less infatuation. Suddenly, Yinshin sensed the gaze and snapped his head up to look towards the door. Startled, she quickly closed the curtain and whispered worriedly. I closed it so quickly, he probably didn't see me. She fumbled to pull out her secret notebook, writing and murmuring. 1:30 p.m. Zhou Yinshin is working seriously. Inside, Yinshin stared helplessly at the curtain, but a pair of feet was still visible at the bottom. He sighed, rubbing his temples and telling himself, shift my focus. 3 p.m. She continued to tail her target to a coffee shop. She hid behind a potted plant, praising him admiringly. Zhou Yinshin is buying milk tea for all the company employees. As expected of my male lead, so generous. However, the CEO image in her eyes didn't seem quite right. He stood at the counter and began to calculate. A total of 272 cups. The points on my membership card can be redeemed for 8 cups. Additionally, with the buy 2 get 1 free offer, I only need to pay for 176 cups. 1 cup is 22 yuan for a total of 3,872 yuan. Today is Friday. The shop has a 7.7 discount. The grand total will be 29,814.4 yuan. Yinshin calmly handed his card to the employee, adding another sentence. Today, using this card for payment, there's a 10 off for every 100, right? The cashier, sweating bullets, stammered in response. That's right. Xiaoming, standing behind him carrying large and small bags in both hands, couldn't help but wonder. CEO Zhou, you have so much money. Why do you still have to be so calculating when you spend it? Yinshin smiled profoundly. Money must be spent in the right places. As he spoke, his gaze suddenly swept past a seemingly familiar figure. Seeing him look over, she hastily hid herself. 11 p.m. in the parking garage, in a hidden corner, a small figure was curled up, dozing off. Suddenly, the crisp sound of a car engine echoed in the quiet garage, waking up both the person and the chick. She jolted awake, rubbed her eyes, and immediately took out her notebook to write like a machine. It's Zhou Yinshin's car. 11 p.m. Zhou Yinshin gets off work. Sitting in the car, Yinshin looked through the window and saw the small figure of the girl still there, a sense of unease rising in his heart. Xiaoming, seeing his boss looking dazed, asked, CEO Zhou, what's wrong? Yinshin pondered for a moment, then spoke. Tell me, what does it mean when someone follows another person around all day? Xiaoming asked back, the opposite gender. He replied with an Hearing this, Xiaoming grinned and explained, that's 80 a sign of liking them. It's because they like them that they hang around them, secretly observing them. It's a crush. Yinshin murmured, his brows furrowing slightly. The thought suddenly appeared in his mind. By Z, she likes me? Seeing his boss still looking a bit dazed, Xiaoming added, besides, it might even be a mutual crush. Otherwise, why would you notice that person is around you? Hearing this, Yinshin immediately denied it. Absolutely not possible. That night at Zishi's apartment, she sat on the bed and flipped through her densely filled notebook, sighing incessantly. Following Zhou Yinshin all day, I discovered that a domineering so like him actually works overtime. Being so tied up, if he doesn't make all the money, who will? The little chick lying beside her also let out a long sigh. He's so busy there are no openings. We can't even intercept him. How are we supposed to win him over? Suddenly, Zishi's eyes lit up as she came up with a bold idea. As soon as she finished speaking, she rolled onto the floor and pressed her ear against it to listen for any movement. What are you doing? The chick asked, bewildered. Listening to see if he's asleep yet. Zishi whispered, then shot up confidently. He's probably not asleep. Let's go. We'll go intercept him. The chick stared at the clock. It's 12 o'clock midnight. That's right. Zishi grinned slyly. Before I go down, I have to prepare first. At Zhou Yinshin's apartment, he had just finished showering and was about to turn off the lights to sleep when the doorbell suddenly rang insistently. Yinshin frowned and walked to the door. At this moment, a voice from outside the door, slightly urgent yet carrying a seductive tone, said, "Zhou Yinshin, it's me." "Open the door, good little rabbit, open the door for me." Yinshin walked over to check through the peephole. Outside stood Zishi, wearing what she thought was a sweet and charming smile, but through the peephole, it looked sinister and chilling. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry as he wondered. Did I offend her somehow? Pretending to be a ghost to scare me in the middle of the night. With a click, the door swung open. Seeing this, Zishi whispered smugly, so he opened the door easily. "It seems I chose the wrong style last time. The seductive swimsuit didn't work. The type Zhou Yinshin likes is a pure and innocent young woman. This time it's a sure win." Yinshin opened the door, his tone lazy. "What brings you here at this hour?" Zishi looked up at him and answered shyly, "Just now, I discovered that the clothes I hung out to dry during the day fell onto your balcony. Could you help me get them?" Yinshin glanced at her, then turned to go inside, uttering 2 words, "Wait a moment." Watching Yinshin's retreating back, Zishi laughed to herself. True love has never been easy to keep. Only old tricks can win a person's heart. In a moment, after he gets the clothes from me, I will. Zishi's imagination began to run wild. In her rosy scenario, Yinshin held the bra in his hand, his eyes deep as he asked, "Are these your clothes?" She blushed shyly and mumbled in reply, This is my only underwear. It will be very troublesome to lose it. Thank you." She timidly reached out to take it, thinking to herself. Late at night, a shyly dressed young woman, while taking her private garment from a man's hand, accidentally touches his hand. Her flustered face turns red. Any man wouldn't be able to resist, you know? The imaginary Yinshin suddenly pulled her into his arms, whispering close to her ear in a deep, husky, and seductive voice. "You're only set, so does that mean you're not wearing any right now?" Thinking of this, she felt like her nose was about to bleed. She was extremely excited. And then, the chick beside her, watching her lost in her fantasy, asked doubtfully, "Will things really develop as you wish?" Zishi nodded firmly, "Of course." The premise of this book is that both leads are pure. Although Uncle Yinshin has been in relationships before, he has remained pure of heart and desire. I am his first woman. Faced with my seduction, it's hard for him not to think about that night. He'll hastily take the bait. Just you wait. Tonight we'll definitely get on the bus. Hey, Yinshin's call pulled her back to reality. Both the person and the chick were eagerly waiting for the script to unfold in the correct sequence. But Yinshin stepped forward with a pair of long chopsticks, picking up her underwear and holding it far away, his expression like he was handling a foreign object. Zishi was stunned for a few seconds, but tried to act according to the script. "This is my only set of underwear. It would be very troublesome if I lost it." She reached out her hand, but Yinshin stood a whole meter away from her, his arm holding the chopsticks stretched out straight. She screamed internally. "Help! Why is he so far away from me? How am I supposed to touch his hand?" The first step was a failure. Hearing her, Yinshin looked surprised. "The only set? Then you." Zishi's eyes lit up. There's a chance. It seems Uncle Yinshin can't escape the domineering CEO trope. Is he going to go for it directly? He let go of the chopsticks, dropping the item in her hand, then smacked his lips and uttered a blunt, pitiful sentence. So poor. She completely froze, as if struck by a thunderclap. So poor? Before she could react, Yinshin waved his hand to shoo her away. All right, go to sleep. The chopsticks are new. They're a gift for you. No need to return them. She held the chopsticks and the underwear in her hands, standing dazed in the cold hallway. A moment later, she came back to her senses and stomped her foot in anger. Isn't he supposed to pin me down and ravage me? Why is it like this? Why one isn't these chopsticks, you get it? The little chick, already sleepy, flew over to comfort her. Let's go. Sleep first. We'll try again tomorrow. She returned resentfully, but her fighting spirit was still burning. I previously set him up to like morning runs. Tomorrow I have to wake up early to block his path. Meanwhile, behind the door, Yinshin leaned against the wall, his handsome face slightly flushed. He mumbled, "Just now I actually had an impulse to pull her into my arms." He shook his head vigorously to reassure himself. I'm not the type to be so desperate. At 6 a.m. the next day, in the park near the apartment complex, Shi, dressed in sportswear, was exercising while looking around. Strange, doesn't Uncle Yinshin wake up at 5:30 to exercise? I've been here for 30 minutes. Why haven't I seen him? The little chick hovered around, looked at the people nearby, and declared, "There's a possibility you're in the wrong place on the wrong team." She looked again, then bowed deeply and apologized. "Sorry to bother you." Then she ran for her life to the jogging track area. A moment later, she finally saw her target. Yinshin was wearing headphones, running with powerful and calm strides. "Found him, let's go. Let's chase him." She panted as she ran behind him. But Yinshin had good stamina, so She was out of breath before long. She gasped for air while calculating. This won't do. At this rate, I'll run myself to death before I even catch up. I should just call out to him first. She called out with all her might, "Uncle Yinshin! Uncle Yinshin! Yen! Shun!" On the third call, because she was so focused on shouting, she wasn't watching where she was going and her feet got tangled. With a thud, she fell flat on her face on the running track, creating a rather comical posture. The chick flew over, looked at her lying in the middle of the path, and asked, "Is this also one of your tricks?" She moaned with her face on the ground. "No, this was an accident." She closed her eyes tightly and comforted herself. "I'm a little glad now. Uncle Yinshin didn't see me." Hearing that, the chick extinguished her hope. "No, you're celebrating too soon." Yinshin took off his headphones, looked at the girl lying flat on the ground, and asked worriedly, "By Shi, are you all right?" Inside, Shi screamed tragically, "I wasn't, but now I am. Can I just pretend to faint?" At Yinshin's apartment, he carefully helped She sit down on the sofa, looking at the girl wincing in pain. He said in a deep voice, "I'll go get the first aid kit." Very quickly, Yinshin returned with the first aid kit in his hand. He bent down and skillfully unwrapped a bandage, his movements decisive yet unable to hide their gentleness. "Endure it for a bit." She blushed, trying to bite her lip to suppress the pain, but still couldn't help but let out a soft ah. Glancing at her reaction, Yinshin instinctively lowered his head, gently blowing on the wound to soothe it as he applied the bandage. That considerate action made Shi's heart melt, and she exclaimed happily, "You're so nice." Yinshin, without looking up, replied in his usual icy tone, "Don't misunderstand, it's just humanitarianism." Suddenly, she brought her face close to his. Her eyes sparkled as she blurted out, "Uncle Yinshin, it would be great if you were my daddy." The words made his hand pause. Meanwhile, she was sitting on the chair, thinking resentfully to herself, "When I was little and fell, my father never cared about me. He only cared about his business. Both are bosses, but seeing how humane Uncle Yinshin is, if Uncle Yinshin were my father, I would have been very happy as a child." In contrast to her, Yinshin's thoughts took a completely different turn. His eyes darkened. "She wants to call me daddy, so I'll be her sugar daddy?" Yinshin stood up coldly and issued a warning. "I advise you to take back that thought of yours. Don't get any ideas, and don't even dream about it." She looked at him blankly, thinking to herself, "Didn't I just compliment him? Why is he suddenly so fierce with me?" A man's mind is like a needle in a haystack. I've used up all my tricks for pursuing men. I could even heat up a piece of metal. He's suddenly so fierce with me, and I've been here for so long without making any progress. I can't drive the car. I can only look at the handsome man, but can't touch him. How ironic. Isn't this the novel I wrote? Other people who transmigrate into books have epic adventures. Why is the script in my hands so difficult? The more she thought, the more wronged she felt, and she burst into sobs. Seeing her cry loudly, Yinshin was a little flustered, wondering if he had been too harsh just now. He frowned and asked, "What are you crying about?" The crying was suddenly interrupted by a hiccup. She, embarrassed, rubbed her eyes and explained in a small voice, "It's a hiccup. I woke up early this morning and haven't eaten yet." Looking at her disheveled appearance, the corners of his lips lifted slightly. His voice also softened a few degrees. "I know, wait there." Yenshin turned and went into the kitchen, thinking, forget it, she's too young. Maybe she just momentarily wanted to take a shortcut. She just needs to be taught well. A moment later, a fragrant aroma wafted out. Yenshin brought 2 plates of egg-fried rice to the table and called out, "Come here, Z." She immediately walked over, inwardly groaning with pleasure as she recalled when her old man had cut off her cards. She was so poor she ate rice mixed with sauce every day, writing novels to make a living. When creating the male lead, she had specifically added cooking skills, dreaming that he would cook for her. She never expected her dream to come true today. She scooped a large spoonful into her mouth. The explosive flavor made she not hold back her praise. "Oh, it's so delicious. It would be great if you were my daddy." Yenshin heard that phrase again, and his expression immediately froze. "I'm not interested in being your sugar daddy." She, who was eating happily, suddenly paused and looked up, asking quizzically, "Why?" Seeing his serious expression, she quickly waved her hands and explained, "I don't want you to be my sugar daddy. I was just complimenting you." As she said this, She's brain suddenly clicked. She realized something and looked up at Yenshin with a sly and teasing gaze. "Wait a minute, so you misunderstood earlier and thought I really wanted to call you daddy?" Hearing this, Yenshin felt a pang of guilt, blushed, and pressed his lips together. After finishing the meal, she politely said goodbye to Yenshin. "Thank you for your hospitality." Watching her back disappear behind the door, Yenshin thought pensively, "I always feel that she's not as happy as she appears on the outside." The memory of the breakfast slowly came back to him. At that time, she was sitting opposite him, still smiling as she said, "All right, I won't joke with you anymore." Her voice lowered, carrying a hint of melancholy. "Don't misunderstand. It's because my father never cared about me since I was little. Later, he went missing, so I thought that anyone who became my father would be better than him." Recalling the look in her eyes at that moment, Yenshin was silent for a long time before taking out his phone, dialing a familiar number and calling, "Hey, look someone up for me," by She, mainly her family situation. On the other end of the line, Assistant Xiao Ming's eyes lit up when he heard this. He thought excitedly to himself, "What's this? After being the secretary to a domineering CEO for so many years, I can finally help the domineering CEO investigate someone." At that moment, Xiao Ming was standing in line at a roadside bakery. He excitedly shouted into the phone, "All right, CEO, I guarantee I'll investigate 18 generations of Bai Zishi's ancestors." He inwardly groaned with pleasure. "Kaka, understanding is the first step to affection. I'm here to protect the CEO's new love." The bread-selling lady heard this, frowned, and reminded him, "Young man, we can't do illegal things." Xiaoming quickly gave a sheepish laugh. "Don't worry, Annie, I have a legitimate job." A few people standing in line nearby pouted and mumbled. What kind of legitimate job involved investigating someone's ancestors? Has the world gone mad? I heard there was a hoodlum around here before. It couldn't be him, could it? At the same time, in Zishi's apartment, she was sitting listlessly on the chair, when suddenly, a few coins fell from the air, clinking as they hit her head painfully. "Ouch!" Zishi clutched her head and cried out, "What's going on? Do we also have a function for a direct 15 reward?" The chick suddenly appeared and quickly explained, "It's the progress bar. The male lead has found out about your background. Advancing the plot gets you a reward. It's a windfall from the heavens." Zishi exclaimed joyfully, "I never thought my useless father would be useful for something." She began to rummage through her memories of the original script. When she first wrote the father character for convenience, she had written him based on her own father, just changing his profession to fit the female lead status, from a boss to a reporter. When the female lead was 19, her reporter father suddenly disappeared. The female lead, in order to find him, hired a private investigator, spending all the family's savings. Afterwards, she even resorted to taking out high-interest loans, leading to a huge debt. She nodded smugly as she analyzed. It's a plot necessity. The female lead's foolish choices. The author doesn't need to level up. Thinking of this, the chick was full of hope. After all, being in debt, a pitiful little white flower female lead with a domineering CEO male lead. That's the basic logic in a CEO story. A sign of loving someone is feeling pity for them, and Yenshin has started to pity her. The plot will go much more smoothly from now on. Zishi replied joyfully, "On this joyous day, I'll treat you to some delicious food." The little chick's eyes lit up when I heard that. let's go. Night had fallen. On Z, she's way back from eating. On a deserted street corner, a big, fat thug was tightly grabbing the collar of a middle-aged man. The man trembled and begged. I really don't have any money. I beg you, give me a little more time. The fat guy shouted angrily. Do you think I'm stupid? I caught you coming out of a woman's room. If you have no money, how are you paying for prostitutes? Do you believe I'll chop off a certain part of you? Suddenly, someone emerged from the shadows, his voice somewhat lazy. Fatty, you're being crude. I told you, we're a small loan company, not the mafia. Why are you being so aggressive? Seeing the newcomer, the fat guy stammered. Sia, young Master Sia. The bruised and battered man hurriedly crawled over to hug the newcomer's leg, crying miserably. Young Master Sia, please show mercy. I really don't have any money. My daughter is 18 this year. She's an adult. I'll have her compensate you. Can we be even then? Hearing this, a glint of contempt flashed in Sia Dong's eyes. He kicked the despicable man straight in the chest. Get lost. His underlings immediately understood, dragging away the screaming man. No, don't. I'll pay. I'll pay right now. Sia Dong sneered. Wouldn't it have been over sooner if you'd just done that? The miserable screams still echoed from a distance. Please don't. Sia Dong coldly asked his underling. Who's the next one to be dealt with? The underling quickly flipped through a book. By ZC. He pondered for a moment, then waved his hand. I'll go see this person myself. You all can go home after you're done. The underlings didn't dare to make a peep, only bowing their heads. Yes, sir. At this moment, she had arrived at her apartment door. In high spirits, she patted her stomach. It's been a long time since I've eaten this full. The chick next to her was just as excited. This is my first time eating that, so if exciting. Hearing that, she happily replied, I'll treat you again next time. Before she could finish her sentence, a low voice sounded from right behind her, making both human and chick jump in fright. By ZC. Zishi turned around, stunned. Lia? Sia Dong had already been standing right up close to her for who knows how long. Holding a half-smoked cigarette, he gave a half-smile. You still remember me? She was stunned for a moment, then screamed internally. Of course I remember. You're the school bully supporting male lead from the novel that I had a secret crush on back in school. The character I created is no different from the school bully in my memory. It's so magical. Unable to contain her excitement, she grabbed Sia Dong's hand joyfully. I finally get to meet you. Ah, my youth has returned. But her reason immediately kicked in. Wait, what is Sia Dong doing here? Let me recall this plot point. The chick hurriedly prompted her. Sia Dong is here to collect a debt. The female lead has no money to pay him. So Sia Dong, who has always had feelings for the female lead, forcibly kisses her, saying it's to collect interest. Hearing this, Zishi's eyes lit up, her face flushed with excitement as she said loudly, Bring it on. Forced love, bring it on. The romantic plot point I've been waiting for so long. Sia Dong looked at the girl in front of him who was tightly gripping his hand. Her expression was not one of fear, but full of eager anticipation. A million question marks appeared in his head. What is going on? In the apartment building's hallway, Sia Dong cornered Zishi against the wall, his strong arm blocking her escape route. He leaned down, his low voice carrying a seductive threat. Hey, it's time for you to pay up, you know? Zishi trembled, pressing herself against the wall and answering in a tiny voice. I know. Sia Dong smiled slyly, his eyes sweeping over her face, answering so softly. Do you have the money to pay this month? She immediately shook her head frantically. I don't. Although she spoke tough, her cheeks were already flushed as she screamed internally. Don't rush me. If it weren't for the character's settings, I would have been in control already. The chick floated beside her, covering its mouth and laughing scornfully. Look at your worthless appearance. Seeing that the little girl had no money but was still stubborn, Sia Dong reached out, gently lifted her chin, and whispered close to her ear. You don't have money, and I can't make a trip for nothing. Zishi's heart pounded, blood rushing to her face. It's coming, it's coming. Sia Dong's hand gently squeezed her chubby cheeks, his smile growing even more devilishly charming. Consider this the interest. The heart-pounding plot point. Zishi squeezed her eyes shut, puckering her lips in anticipation of a forceful, domineering kiss just like in the script. However, she waited and waited, but nothing happened. She peeked open an eye, wondering to herself, why hasn't he kissed me yet? Suddenly, Sia Dong's actions became strange. He didn't kiss her, but instead leaned close to her neck, sniffing continuously like a puppy trying to catch a scent. Zishi was bewildered, completely clueless as to what was happening. Just then, the chick beside her cried out in alarm. Oh no, you wrote sniff instead of kiss. Zixi exclaimed in horror. The chick added in despair. Moreover, you designed Xiedong to be a neat freak, and we just ate. Before it could finish, Xiedong, who had been sniffing intently, suddenly pinched his nose shut, his brow furrowed, his expression as if he had just tasted poison. What does that smell? Did you eat shit? She was stunned, the memory of the recent meal flooding back. Stinky tofu. Xiedong couldn't hold it in any longer, turning away and vomiting violently on the spot. She and the chick looked at each other, speechless at this scene. The plan to kiss the school bully was declared a failure. Meanwhile, in the quiet study, Yinshin was sitting at his desk, but his mind was elsewhere. He recalled what Xiao Lu had said the other day. Right now you feel that the girl's tragic background is very pitiful. Before, she went into the wrong room and got into bed with you. You should take responsibility. You're done for. Simply diverting your attention won't work anymore. What you need is to compensate her. He silently made up his mind, thinking deeply. What should I do? What does she lack right now? The next morning at the company office, hot news had just been announced, causing a stir throughout the office. She overheard snippets and hurriedly scurried over to ask a colleague. What? A raise? The department head also nodded in confirmation, his face beaming. That's right. Other employees also chimed in with praise. The CEO is so generous. Indeed, she was overjoyed, her eyes shining brightly. But before her smile could fully bloom, the department head added a clarification. However, it excludes interns. She froze, her smile vanishing, officially excluded. The department head patted her shoulder, his voice full of false encouragement. Furthermore, the higher-ups feel that the intern's work is not effective. It's too light. From now on, the intern's workload will increase. You must continue to work hard. After hearing this, she felt like she could cough up blood. She gritted her teeth, screaming internally. A true capitalist. In the CEO's office, Yinshin leisurely handed a file to Xiao Ming and asked, "Has the increase in interns' workload been announced?" Xiao Ming replied, "It has been announced." He smiled with satisfaction, his gaze distant and philosophical. Pressure is what forges great ability. Achieve great things, and wealth will follow. He thought to himself, nurturing by she into a capable person is the best compensation. Xiao Ming stood beside him, breaking into a cold sweat as he watched his boss's smile, sighing internally. CEO, pursuing her like this will not end well. Suddenly remembering something, Yinshin turned to ask, "That's right. Has she not come by recently?" Xiao Ming immediately replied, "She hasn't." He frowned, tapping his fingers lightly on the desk in suspicion. Strange. She's the type who won't give up until she achieves her goal. Why hasn't she come by recently? Has she changed? I just feel like something is not right. At the same time, at Xiao Lu's psychology clinic, the door opened and Jin walked in with a slightly strange expression. Seeing her, Xiao Lu spoke up and asked, "Did something happen to you?" At this moment, he was already complaining internally. "Is there some issue with an ex? Why do they keep coming to me one after another to give me money?" Jin gently sat down in the opposite chair, her demeanor strangely calm. Her eyes were sharp and cold, her voice ringing out without a ripple. "It's not exactly a difficulty." She paused for a moment, looking straight at Xiao Lu, slowly enunciating each word. "It's just that I've been reborn." Flashing back to the past, in Yinshin's apartment, Jin was confronting Yinshin in a resolute tone. "Your father's health isn't good. He wants to see his grandchild soon. You want to force me to marry you, and then have your child." Yinshin hurriedly explained, "I'm not forcing you. I'm just asking for your opinion." Jin thought for a while, her gaze firm and unwavering, as she coldly made her final decision. "My opinion is, let's break up." Returning to the present, Jin was sitting opposite Xiao Lu in the psychology clinic. Her voice was somber as she recounted the story of her past life. "In my previous life, not long after Zhou Yinshin and I broke up, I regretted it. I went back to find him, and although we didn't say we wanted to get back together, we had a mutual understanding. Not long after, I discovered I was too naive. A woman appeared by his side. That woman was even pregnant with his child." Xiao Lu indifferently cracked a melon seed in his hand and replied nonchalantly, "Correct." Jin sobbed, continuing with a hint of sadness. "At first, I couldn't accept it. Our years of feelings. How could we lose to a woman who suddenly appeared? Later on, in order to push me away, he even..." Xiao Lu asked again, "What?" Jin wiped her tears and concluded decisively. "In short, we completely broke up after that. I married someone else." Only then did Xiao Lu point out the illogical part. "That's not right. Didn't you not want to get married and have children? Why did you end up marrying someone else?" Jin shot him with a cold glare. "Are you trying to meddle in my business?" Xiao Lu calmly asked, "How long have you had these symptoms?" As he asked, he wrote, "Moderate level of delusion, mild violent tendencies, judged to be agitated due to the breakup." He thought to himself, I didn't expect her feelings for Zhou Yinshun to be so deep, to be so agitated after the breakup that it led to subjective thinking. Shi Jin suddenly slammed her hand on the chair, the sound echoing in the room. "You don't believe me?" Seeing her angry, Xiao Lu was a little scared and tried to placate her. No, I believe you. As a doctor, I naturally believe my patient." Despite saying that, on the file, he had already crossed out the word moderate and replaced it with severe. Xiao Lu continued to ask, "So after you were reborn, what do you want to do?" Shi Jin, full of determination, decisively declared, "Reborn in this life, I want to turn the tables and take back everything that belongs to me." Xiao Lu clapped reluctantly. "Okay, that's ambitious. However, I can't help you with this wish, but I can give you my moral support." Shi Jin replied in a cold tone, "I don't need you to help me with anything. This kind of thing isn't easy to accept. I was just looking for someone to talk to." Her gaze turned dark and warning. "What I said today, you won't tell anyone, will you?" Xiao Lu affirmed with certainty, "Of course not. This is a matter of professional ethics." Shi Jin stood up and said coldly, "I trust you. I'm leaving." Watching her figure at the door, he called after her, "Shi Jin, take a piece of my advice. Do something to divert your attention." She angrily turned her back and let out a contemptuous sound. "Bullshit." As soon as Shi Jin was out of sight, Xiao Lu immediately took out his phone. His tone changed 180 degrees. "Sorry, my professional ethics also include trying my best to cure you. Talking about being reborn, her illness is not light. She won't accept a direct prescription. I have to get help from her family." The call connected to Yinshen, and Xiao Lu immediately shouted, "Hello, Yin. Something terrible has happened." Yinshen said coldly, "Don't call me that. Just say what you have to say." Xiao Lu immediately said loudly, "Your ex-girlfriend has gone crazy." Hearing this, Yinshen felt uneasy. He turned to his secretary Xiao Ming. "I told you I had a bad feeling. Schedule a meeting with Shi Jin for me. Hurry." At the same time in the company lobby, Shi Jin strode straight towards Yinshen's office. Her overwhelming aura made the crowd whisper, "The CEO's girlfriend is here again. She has such a presence. I heard she's the eldest daughter of the Shi Group." The eldest daughter and the CEO are a match made in heaven. In a hidden corner, the chick was whispering urgently, "According to the novel, today is the day the three of them meet. Are you ready?" She held the pregnancy test stick in her hand, a little worried. "The prop has been issued. Can we not start if I'm not ready?" She walked over, her hand ready to knock on Yinshen's office door. The door suddenly opened, and Shi Jin appeared, looking at her coldly and saying, "Come in." Zixi Walktin. Yinshen frowned and asked, "By Zishi, what is it?" Shi Jin stood right beside him and declared in an irrefutable tone, "She wants to tell you that she's pregnant and the child is yours." Zishi was stunned and inwardly furious. "Why did you steal my line?" A greater sense of shock washed over her. Zishi looked up at Shi Jin, her whole body going cold. "That's not right. How does she know what I was going to say?" Shi Jin stood beside Zishi and said in a cold tone, "Your child, get rid of it." Zishi tried to stay calm and replied, "Miss Shi, I know you're very angry right now, but I can guarantee that I got pregnant with this child after you, and Zhou Yinshen had already broken up." At that moment, a great doubt arose in Zishi's heart. What's going on? Shi Jin's reaction just now was completely different from a novel. Shi Jin was unwavering, her tone softening slightly as she said, "I'm not angry. I'm doing this for your own good." She then turned to look at Yinshan with eyes full of hatred and said decisively, "I didn't want to come here today, but I decided to come anyway. 1, to end things completely with you, and 2, I have to expose your true colors." Yinshan looked at her furious expression and thought. Xiao Lu said she was very attached to me, and even spread rumors that she wanted to win me back. But looking at her now, she looks like she hates me to the bone. Shi Jin turned to advise Zishi, her voice full of seriousness. "Listen to me, this man is no good. You're pregnant, and now he wants the baby, so he'll definitely coax you into giving birth to it." She was inwardly shocked. How does she know the next plot point of the novel? Shi Jin then raised her voice to warn, "You absolutely must not agree to him, even if he's saying sweet nothings now. Later, when he gets tired of you, he will definitely push you to a point of no return." I'm a living example. In Shi Jin's mind, memories of her past life cut through like a knife. She thought to herself, in my past life, I hated by Zishi for coming between me and Zhou Yinshen and always targeted her. But what did she actually do wrong? It was all the fault of that man who couldn't control his lower body. It's a pity I didn't understand back then and was still completely devoted to Zhou Yinshen. frequently using all sorts of tricks to get him to see me. I'm drunk. Come pick me up. Who knew he could be so heartless, putting me in a business partner's bed while I was drunk? After that, when a she group ran into trouble, I was forced to marry that person. I remember that after Bai Zi she gave birth, she also left Zhou Yinshin. He must have taken the child and kicked the mother out, driving Bai Zi Shi from the house. Reborn in this life, I, Shi Jin, won't waste my time on this kind of man. She pointed straight at Yinshin's face and loudly accused, a scumbag who can't break up cleanly with his ex-girlfriend and even gets you pregnant before marriage. If you don't run now, you'll definitely regret it later. After speaking, she placed a hand on Zishi's shoulder, her tone shifting to be soft yet firm. I've said my piece, you decide for yourself. Shi Jin thought to herself, in my past life, I harmed you because of Zhou Yinshin. Consider my warning in this life as compensation. I hope it can save you. She decisively turned her back. I'm leaving. I won't come again. Shi Jin looked at Yinshin one last time, a hint of sadness creeping into the depths of her eyes. For the sake of our old friendship, I won't hold what happened in our past life against you. But this is where things between us end. Suddenly, Zishi raised a hand to stop Shi Jin. Wait. She took a deep breath and spoke in a resolute tone. Thank you for the warning, but Zhou Yinshin is not the kind of person you say he is. He doesn't want to be entangled with his ex-girlfriend. It's just that after you two broke up, you regretted it and wanted to find him. Out of respect for the many years of feelings between you two, he's been very tormented inside. He also didn't want to get me pregnant before marriage. It was just a mistake made during a drunken incident. He has always regretted it. Yinshin looked at Zishi before him, feeling a little moved, and thought, she's defending me. As for Zishi, she was pursing her lips, her heart full of conflict. Back then, for the sake of conflict, I did write a lot of terrible things, but I can't let people say my male lead's character design is bad. In short, it's all the fault of a mother like me. Zishi continued, I know it sounds like I'm making excuses for him, but you've known him for so long. Do you really think he's the kind of person you described? Would he really harm you when he grew to hate you? Shi Jin was suddenly taken aback and wondered to herself, could it be that what happened in the past life wasn't Zhou Yinshin's doing? Then who was it? At this moment, Yinshan walked closer to Shi Jin. His tone was filled with remorse. Shi Jin, I know that during this time, whether it was me bringing up marriage or us suddenly breaking up, it's all been hard for you to accept. I've always wanted to formally apologize to you. He paused, his voice deepening. I'm sorry. It was me who didn't consider your feelings. I still remember you once said that besides being ex-lovers, we are also old friends. Even so, Shi Jin still coldly waved her hand dismissively and replied decisively. Do you think saying a few words will make me forgive you? In your dreams. Only then did Yinshin look over at Zishi. Seeing this, she suddenly asked back, what are you looking at? Seeing her confused expression, he asked back, a little amused, I'm seeing if you have a mind-reading ability. He gently pointed at her forehead. If there's nothing, don't make wild guesses. Then Yinshin turned to Zishi and said seriously, come here, let's talk. Zishi asked shyly, talk about what? Yinshin pulled her hand, his voice stern. The child, what do you want to do? Zishi hesitated, a little flustered. You're asking me what to do? She looked up at Yinshin and asked happily, but will you cooperate with whatever I say? In her heart, she was already overjoyed. I want to get married, a happy ending, finish the novel. She flashed a bright smile, her tone carrying a hint of probing. But as long as I say it, you'll cooperate? In response to her expectation, Yinshin just coldly uttered two words, impossible. She looked disappointed and mumbled, all right. Suddenly, Yinshin made a surprising offer. If you want to abort the baby, I can compensate you with 500,000. Hearing this, Zishi panicked immensely in her heart. It's over. It's over. All my previous efforts were for nothing. The favorability level isn't high enough. Zhou Yinshin doesn't want me to have his child. But just as she was sinking in despair, Yinshin brightly offered a second option. If you want to give birth to the child, I can give you 5 million. The huge number made Zishi's eyes light up like car headlights, and she decisively shouted, I choose the second one. This change couldn't help but confuse Yinshin. You've chosen that quickly? Zishi laughed awkwardly and quickly clarified. Whether there's money or not isn't important. It's mainly because I can't bear to give up a child's life. She quickly grabbed the cards and stuffed them in her bag, not forgetting to cover her bases. Are there any other conditions? Otherwise, I won't feel at ease taking the money. Yinshin stood up, adjusted his clothes, and said gently, Let's go to the hospital to check on the situation first. Then we'll formally sign the contract. At the hospital's obstetrics department, the doctor held the results, pushed up his glasses, his expression serious as he announced, You're 7 weeks pregnant. Do you want this child? She immediately nodded her head repeatedly. Yes, yes. Yinshin stood beside her, with pen and paper ready, and asked carefully, "Are there any precautions?" "I'll write them down." The doctor cleared his throat. Ahem, first. With that, the doctor began to list. Avoid eating fatty meat, pork, dog meat, goat meat, pepper, cinnamon, chili, onion, ginger, mustard, snails, crab, soft-shelled turtle, salted fish, pickles, hawthorn, tangerine, watermelon, eggplant, coffee, sweet fruits, alcoholic beverages, white sugar, honey, sweet pastries, chocolate. Hearing this, She inwardly lamented to the heavens. Is there anything left in this world for me to eat? In contrast to her misery, Yinshin was still diligently taking notes, not missing a single word. The doctor continued to advise, be careful when taking medicine as well, to avoid affecting the fetus's development. When walking or climbing stairs, also be careful not to fall and avoid carrying heavy objects. Pausing for a moment, the doctor added, that's right, for the first 3 months, it's best not to do that to avoid agitating the uterus. From a 4th to the 9th month, you can do it once a week, but not for too long each time, and the movements must be gentle. The last month before birth is a no-go. The atmosphere in a room suddenly froze, and both Yinshin and She froze. Her cheeks flushed slightly with embarrassment, while Yinshin maintained his cold expression and cut in. I won't do anything, you can rest assured. She glanced at him, pouted, and thought to herself, there's no need to be so dramatic. As if hearing her inner thoughts, he also told himself, there's no need to be so dramatic. After the checkup, Yinshin turned to look at the young woman and asked, that was tough. Do you need any other compensation? She's eyes lit up again. More money. He replied decisively, impossible, without a hint of hesitation. She grumbled irritably in her head. Then why did you ask me? After that, the two of them completed the procedures, formally signing the 5 million childbearing contract between Zhou Yinshin and Bai Zishi. At this moment, the chick cheered excitedly. Congratulations on completing an important plot point. You've earned 20 accumulated points. Seeing her flush budget, She excitedly shouted, draw a card, draw a card, draw a card now. Draw a card. I can't hold it in anymore. At this moment, a card appeared. She clasped her hands, praying sincerely. Oh heavens above, your faithful servant by she is willing to trade 10 years of the character Zhou Yinshin's lifespan for an SSR card. Hearing this, the chick was speechless and said wearily, how is that any different from selling out your own creation for personal gain? She ignored it, her mouth still muttering, as long as it's useful, come on, SSR, as long as it's useful, come on, SSR. I'll just borrow 10 years of his life for now. Once I get out of here successfully, I'll write him to live to 120. The result appeared, not an SSR, but an SR card. The information displayed, big bubblegum. Whatever you want bigger can get bigger. P.S. I guess you definitely want to use it on that place. After reading the description, She's face flushed red with desire, but she still pretended to be disappointed. What a waste of a card draw. Based on the character design I wrote for Zhou Yinshin, there's no need to use this card. The chick immediately exposed her. Then why are you cherishing it so much? She carefully wrapped the card, gleefully justifying herself, saying that it was an SR card after all, so of course, it had to be treasured. Seeing her say one thing and do another, the chick showed a look of open contempt. She said with satisfaction, that's enough for today. I'll save the remaining 10 points for the next draw. She stretched out comfortably on the floor, happily summarizing, the contract to have the child is signed. I've already gotten through 1/3 of the script, so I can rest easy. Next, without the second female lead causing trouble, I can completely skip the cliché misunderstanding plot, cultivate feelings with the male lead, and achieve victory. The chick beside her reminded her, without any conflict, it will affect your future plot of running away with the child. She asserted decisively, it won't. Once Zhou Yinshin is head over heels in love with me, I'll just up and run, making it impossible for him to find me. Just like torturing him to death, completing the next plot point. After hearing this, the little chick tilted its head, pondered, and asked a meaningful question. You speak so heartlessly and casually. Could it be that you don't like him? The little chick looked up at She, its voice full of curiosity. You speak so heartlessly. Do you really not like him at all? She laughed relaxedly and replied immediately, of course I like him. He's the child I used as my money-making tool. How could I not like him? Back then, I wrote this novel to earn a living. If it weren't for him, I probably wouldn't have survived my 4 years of university. As she said this, her eyes suddenly became dreamy. Her tone changed completely, but if we're talking about men, Compare to him, I prefer the second male lead, Xiedong. Hearing this, the little chick immediately warned, snap out of it. The person you need to target now is Zhou Yinshin. If you get into a relationship with Xiedong, you'll be two-timing. Z, she shrugged indifferently, casually replying, but the mission to get close to Zhou Yinshin is just my job. Who falls in love with their job? On the contrary, Xiedong is my girlish dream. The chick couldn't hold back anymore and bluntly scolded, scum woman, you were just drooling over Zhou Yinshin's body. Z, she still argued stubbornly, come on, big bro, who could resist that? The little chick sighed wearily. I think you don't even know what like is. You're the most unconventional author I've ever met. I don't know if you'll successfully complete the mission in the end. To let them. Suddenly, Zishi cut in and asked what? The chick was stunned and asked itself, what? What did I just say? It quickly explained more clearly. You have no feelings for Zhou Yinshin. And I don't think he likes you very much either. You should quickly find a chance to get closer and build affection with Zhou Yinshin. Otherwise, I'm afraid by the time you complete the mission, your body in reality will have already been cremated. Hearing about life and death, Z, she felt guilty, gave a forced laugh, and turned her face away. The chick continued to nag. Luckily, Shi-jin is out now, or maybe you. Suddenly hearing this, Z, she whipped around and asked, that's right, did you notice? Shi-jin's behavior all day today has been very strange. It seems like she really hates Zhou Yinshin. In another development, Yinshin was on the phone, his voice deep and steady, but full of thought. In short, she really hates me now. On the other end of the line, Xiao Lu exclaimed in surprise, no way. She clearly said she would turn the tables and take everything back. I didn't mishear a single word. Yinshin narrowed his eyes, raising a doubt. Could it be that what she wants to take back isn't me? Maybe she still has many things she hasn't told you. Xiao Lu scratched his head in confusion and asked, so what do we do now? Yinshin analyzed thoughtfully. She's acting very hostile towards me, telling me I have to tell her the whole truth. It would be best if you could meet with her for a chat, ask her what she really wants. Then we can figure out how to help her. Xiao Lu agreed decisively. No problem, leave it to me. After hanging up, Yinshin recalled the scene from that morning. Shi-jin had spoken to Z, she with harsh words. You're pregnant. He desperately needs a child right now. He'll definitely sweet-talk you into giving birth. You absolutely must not agree. Even if he's sweet-talking you now, later when he gets tired of you, he'll send you to a place you can never return from for the rest of your life. Yinshin wondered to himself, why is she so certain about that? That night at the Shi family villa, she sat at the dining table, her mind adrift with thoughts. That incident from my past life, besides Zhou Yinshin, who else could have done it? In the end, who benefited? Shi-jin's sharp, cold gaze stared intently at the woman opposite her, that woman, Zhao Yi. At the table were Shi-jin's half-brother Shi-ming and Shi-jin's stepmother, Zhao Yi. Zhao Yi was gently coaxing her son. You have to eat your vegetables. Let mommy feed you. Shi-ming pushed her away in annoyance, Mom. I'm already so big. I don't need you to feed me. Noticing Shi-jin's intense stare, she looked up and asked with a faint smile, what's wrong? Is the food not to your liking? Oh my, your father is on a business trip, and you didn't say you were coming home for dinner, so your aunt just made a few simple dishes to eat with your brother. Shi-jin sneered inwardly. In her past life, after she got married, this woman constantly made insinuations to her father, saying that as a married daughter, she shouldn't continue to interfere in the company's affairs, and had her kicked out of the company. The woman continued in her sweet tone, if you don't like it, how about I have the staff cook a few more delicious dishes for you? She replied coldly and curtly, no need, Aunt. Shi-jin already had the answer in her mind. If it was her who sent those people, then everything was clear. In this life, whoever doesn't want me to live well, I will make them pay back tenfold. With that thought, she left the dining table and picked up her phone. Hello. The next morning, Shi and the chick were furtively hiding in a corner, secretly observing Shi-jin. The little chick asked curiously, aren't we here to investigate the reason for Shi-jin's change? What are we hiding here for? She rationalized, the important thing is I don't know how to investigate, so let's just follow her for now. Suddenly, a large shadow appeared right behind her, and a deep, warm voice rang out, who are you following? Startled, she blurted out instinctively, can't you see I'm following someone? Is that any of your business? Before she could finish, she turned around and saw Xiedong looking at her with a mischievous smile. Just my luck, I was looking for you. Let's go. Saying that, before she could even understand what was happening, he grabbed her by the scruff of her neck and dragged her away like a kitten. Xiedong said cheerfully, his voice full of teasing and affection, Dad's taking you out to play. She looked at Xiedong, her cheeks burning, and with a bit of anticipation, she cheered inwardly, a confession. This is the scene I once wrote in the novel. In the middle of summer, they sat next to each other on a long bench by the street, with the hot, salty sea breeze blowing across their faces. With the long whistles of ships weighing anchor and heading out to sea, Xiedong handed her a bottle of water, and suddenly opened his mouth to say, "I like you." But harsh reality immediately slapped her in the face with a bucket of cold water. A large industrial fan in a fish shop was spinning furiously, blowing directly into Zishi's face, messing up her hair. She gritted her teeth, screaming inwardly, "Sea breeze." Just then, a nearby fishmonger blew a loud whistle and yelled at the top of his lungs, "Fresh sea fish. Get your fresh sea fish." Zishi stared blankly and annoyedly at the scene before her, thinking, ship's whistle. She thought angrily, it's similar, but not exactly the same. The real-life version is truly a far cry from a romance novel. The little chick then spoke up to explain, "Who told you not to write the setting specifically when you wrote the story? The characters you wrote are all in City S, a plane. Where would you find a sea? This is basic stuff to ensure the story's logic." Finishing its words, the little chick urged, "Hurry up and continue acting, according to the plot of the story. Next, you have to reject him without any hesitation." Hearing that, Zishi replied, on the verge of tears and flustered, "How can I reject him? He's my idol." Beside her, Xiedong moved closer, his expression serious as he spoke. "You can think it over carefully. I'm completely serious about this relationship, although I don't know why I like you." He began to list on his fingers with a deadpan face. "You owe me money, have a hot temper like strong flavors, and you look kind of ugly and dirty." Before he could finish, she was fuming and quickly signaled him to stop. There's no need to continue. She thought to herself, "Thanks a lot. This beauty feels offended. I feel like I can reject him now." She regained her cold demeanor and said decisively, "I hope we can just clearly maintain this debtor-creditor relationship." Xiedong narrowed his eyes, pointed at her face, his voice full of doubt. "But your expression doesn't look like you're hoping for that. You look like you're about to cry." Hearing this, Zishi's defenses almost crumbled. She screamed resentfully in her heart, "It's not like I want this. I just can't control my emotions. Even if you break this little heart of mine, you're still my idol." She quickly turned away to cover it up. "The humidity is too high. That's why my eyes are watery. I want to be alone for a while," Xiedong suggested. "Then I'll take you home." Zishi refused immediately. "No need." He asked again, "Are you sure?" She quickly replied loudly, "I'm sure. You should go. I don't want to see you right now." In her heart, she screamed the opposite. "Why aren't you leaving already? I'm afraid I'll regret this forever." Seeing this, Xiedong stood up and left a cold remark, "It's very far from here. But if you don't want to take you home, then forget it." After saying that, he turned and walked straight away. Zishi grumbled in annoyance. "What's so far? We haven't even left the city." She took out her phone to book a ride. She glanced at the map and was horrified. It takes an hour to drive? That's so damn far. But calling a taxi will solve it. Warning. Just as her finger touched the ride-hailing app, a warning appeared on the screen, "Low battery. Shutting down in 3 seconds." The screen went black, powered down. At the same time, Xiedong's motorcycle revved up and sped away coldly, leaving behind a cloud of dust. Zishi sat there, asking the little chick in a trembling voice, "Hey, do you know how long it would take to walk a route that takes an hour by car?" The little chick calculated hesitantly and replied, "About 10 hours. She was utterly horrified. "Doesn't that mean I'll have to walk on my own 2 feet until late at night to get home?" Thinking of the prospect of her exhausted legs, she burst into tears and sobbed in the middle of the park. She began to trudge along. As the sky gradually darkened, exhausted, she lamented as she walked. "If Zhou Yinshin were here right now, he would definitely call me stupid and careless for forgetting to charge my phone, forcing myself to walk this far. But he would probably still drive over to take me home." Suddenly, a familiar voice broke the silence of the night. "By ZC." Zishi was startled and quickly looked up. Yinshin was rushing towards her, his forehead drenched in sweat. Looking at the figure before her, she wearily thought to herself, "Am I so tired that I'm starting to hallucinate?" Yinshin rushed to her, grabbed Zishi by the shoulders, his voice filled with worry mixed with reproach. "Where on earth have you been? Did you request leave from the company? And also, why was your phone turned off? Do you have any idea that I—" Zishi interrupted, her voice choked as if seeking confirmation. "Is it really you?" All the grievances she had been holding in burst forth. She cried and whimpered, throwing a tantrum. "Zhou Yinshin, can you please stop asking questions? My feet hurt." Seeing her pitiful state, Yinshin immediately softened. He lowered his voice, gently comforting her. "All right, I won't scold you anymore. Don't be scared. With that, he bent down and decisively swept her up in a princess carry. She was surprised and quickly wrapped her arms around his neck, asking in a small voice, "It's still quite a distance to my house from here. Isn't it very tiring for you to carry me like this?" Yinshin walked with steady steps and quickly replied curtly, "It's fine." Nestled in his strong arms, she was secretly pleased. As expected of the male lead from my own pen, his physical strength is truly impressive. In a coffee shop in the city, Xiao Lu asked Shi Jin doubtfully. "Thinking back, I still don't believe it. You said you've been reborn. Can you prove anything? If you want me to believe you, you'll have to tell me in detail what you've been through." Shi Jin lowered her head and asked in return, "Did Zhou Yinshin tell you to ask?" Xiao Lu quickly shook his head in denial. "No, of course not." Seeing this, she then explained, "It makes no difference whether he did or not. Anyway, whether he knows or not doesn't affect me at all." "That's right. Didn't you want to prove it?" "I know something related to Zhou Yinshin." Xiao Lu was surprised. "What?" Shi Jin revealed what she knew. Immediately, news of a factory fire will spread through his company. This incident will not only affect their furniture sales, but also impact the stock market. She continued, "Luckily for Zhou Yinshin, it rained cats and dogs that day, and the rain extinguished the fire, with only one employee dying." Everything she said was recorded very clearly. He had been listening in silence until now, as Shi Jin finally concluded. Otherwise, he would have gone bankrupt. Yinshin was bewildered. The furniture factory fire will be real? On another side, a lighter was flicked on. One of the debt collectors demanded, "Your debt has been overdue for almost a year. When are you planning to pay?" The debtor was a middle-aged man who stammered, The money I borrowed before is all gone." The man holding the lighter glanced over. The debtor continued to plead, "Please, young Master Xie, give me a little more time. My job and my wife and children are all here. I won't run away." Only then did he walk over, sneering, very angry with the man before him. "A gambler like you has a wife and kids? I don't even have that." A familiar figure and a cold voice surfaced in his mind. "I hope we continue to maintain a pure creditor-debtor relationship." He wondered himself, why on earth doesn't she like me? As he thought, he struck the man in front of him. The blow surprised the underlings around him. The man's glasses fell off. Suddenly, one of the underlings became teary-eyed. Ever since young Master Xie inherited the company, he's always come up empty-handed. Today, he actually hit someone himself. "Thank you, Master Xie. May you rest in peace in heaven." After hitting him, he wiped his hands and threatened, "I'll be back in 3 days." Young Master Xie warned, "If you still haven't paid by then." He spoke while burning the handkerchief he just used, affirming, "I really won't be polite with you." The other party's face turned pale, his eyes filled with fear. Over here, she finally spoke up and asked, "Is Zhou Yinshin not at work today?" As soon as she finished, Xiaoming, who was standing beside her, let out a slight cough that nearly made her jump out of her skin. She quickly clarified, "I wasn't peeping at you, I was just..." She fumbled for an excuse. "I saw this glass panel was a bit dirty, I was just wiping it." Secretary Xiaoming replied, "The chairman is on a business trip, he's not at the company." She understood somewhat and asked him again, "So when will he be back?" Secretary Xiaoming answered, "Not sure, a few days at the shortest, a few months at the longest. He hasn't gone on business trips before." She was stunned and turned to ask the system, "Why did he suddenly go on a business trip? This part isn't in the script." The system, equally shocked, reminded her, "The male and female leads in a romance novel can't be without competition. If you leave the male lead for too long, you'll have bad luck." Xiaoming looked at her, a certain look in his eyes as he called out, "By Shi, I heard your department needs some photos of the factory's furniture for the new issue of the Interior Design magazine, and no one has been assigned to take them yet. The chairman is on a business trip to the factory." Shi's eyes lit up and she proposed, "I understand. I have a lot of photography experience. I can definitely handle the photo shoot." After saying that, she turned to leave immediately. "I'll go submit an application to Director Sure. Thank you, Secretary Wang." That evening at the Chu Furniture Factory, Yinshin did a round of inspection and instructed, the firefighting equipment must all be checked regularly. The manager assured him, "Of course, Chairman Chu, rest assured." He further explained, "The managers in charge of our factory check the use of firefighting facilities daily to keep the equipment clean, sanitary, and in good condition." Elsewhere, Xiaoming confidently puffed out his chest. "The company really can't do without me, with my hidden power and prestige." He thought, "Chairman, this is all I can do to help you." Yinshin listened to the manager's report as they walked. "Look, that's him. During a night shift last month, he also checked for fire hazards and prevent an accident." The manager continued to boast, "In all these years, we've never made a mistake." Seeing the employee ahead, Yinshin praised, "Very good, he deserves a reward." but then he just walked past that employee. Yinshin wondered to himself, am I really going crazy? Why did I come over here? Just because of something Shi Jin said. He didn't notice the strange look the employee gave him. When he stepped outside, Yinshin realized it's raining. The manager suggested, Chairman, I'll go get an umbrella for you. Yinshin recalled the recording from the other day. Luckily for Zhou Yinshin, it rained cats and dogs that day, and the rain extinguished the fire, with only one employee dying. Otherwise, he would have gone bankrupt. Yinshin looked up at the sky and questioned, could it be that everything she said is true? A loud clap of thunder echoed. He turned around and saw a familiar figure. It was her, running towards the factory in the rain. Seeing her without any cover, he also rushed out, first grabbing her hand, pulling her somewhere to take shelter from the rain. Once settled, he questioned her, why did you come here? She answered softly, I'm on a business trip. As soon as I got out of the car, it started to rain, and it's raining so heavily. She sighed and cursed inwardly. I haven't even been away from you for long. How can I be so unlucky? The manager came out and advised, Chairman, I just received a red alert for thunderstorms and strong winds. It won't be safe to drive back. Why don't you find a nearby hotel to stay for the night? Seeing her here, along with the manager's warning, he also agreed to stay. He turned to her and said, the work isn't urgent. You're all wet. Come with me. Take a shower. Change your clothes. She was secretly delighted. An opportunity. She was excited. The factory is in the suburbs. There are no big hotels nearby, only small ones. The hotel receptionist announced, special room, 30 yuan per hour. The system said, as usual, when a hotel receptionist sees a man and a woman together, they will usually say. The receptionist spoke, but she never expected that after all her calculations, it would turn out like this. The receptionist announced the room status. There's only one room left. She reassured herself. As usual, it's still a comfortable double room. She was quite sure, although all the procedures were correct, but standing in front of the room, she froze solid. I didn't expect a room like this. This seems a bit too much. Isn't this really a love hotel? It wasn't just her. He also blushed and demanded to change rooms. This isn't right. Let's check out and go to another hotel. But then she held him back and persuaded him. It's raining so heavily outside now. Other hotels are probably all full. Let's just stay here, she explained, her eyes showing 100 credibility. I really don't mind sharing a room with you. Circumstances are just circumstances. It's no big deal, she affirmed. As long as our hearts are pure, there's nothing to be ashamed of. As soon as she finished, they heard a rather suggestive sound from the next room. A man said, Darling, you sound so cute when you scream. Darling, how about we try a new game? Both of them felt embarrassed when suddenly they heard a loud banging on a door. She anxiously gripped him tightly. Someone's banging on our door. Yinshan was somewhat worried. It seems to be next door. As he finished speaking, a scream rang out from outside. The door opened. She found this voice a bit familiar. This voice, why does it sound so familiar? A pot-bellied man came out and shouted, What's with all the banging? Is someone dead? After he spoke, the man was stunned by the group in front of him. Xiedong replied, That's right, someone is. You're deaf. Xiedong approached and reminded him gently, Keep it down. I'm in a very bad mood. I don't want to hear about the games you're playing with your little lover. If you still want to play, why not play with my brothers? The man, terrified, affirmed resolutely, No more playing. I guarantee no more playing, boss, rest assured. Then everyone dispersed. You brothers go back to your rooms. One of the underlings spoke up. It's been a year since he took over the company. Xiedong has been getting more and more like Master Xie lately. He didn't hesitate to approach Xiedong and continue. I still remember when Master Xie passed away. He had just taken over the company and went to collect a debt for the first time. That little girl who owed money cried. He was a loss. Not only did he not get the money back, but he ended up borrowing a lot. Hearing him say that, Xiedong remembered, that's right, she cried as if she had been abandoned. How could I not have soft heart? Remembering that time, their group also approached her. One of them spoke first. I see your room is very nice. It's a high-end apartment, convenient transportation. The people who live here are all rich. He stepped forward and threatened, if you don't have money to pay, we'll take the house as collateral. The girl immediately refused. No, she explained, this is the house my father left for me. It's my home. If I sell the house, when my father comes back, he won't be able to find me. She continued to explain. I'm still in school right now. I can only work part-time. I don't earn much money. She sobbed as she poured out her heart. I'm graduating next year. By then I'll find a full-time job. I will definitely pay on time. Xiedong thought back and blamed himself. The first time we met, I already made her cry. Xiedong wondered. Who would like someone who's always chasing after her for money? She rejected me. It must be because she doesn't like my status. Xiedong consoled himself. But it's okay. Once I get back the money my grandfather lent out, I'll dissolve the company and wash my hands of this business. He looked at the list of debts and thought, during this time, by Z, she probably won't fall in love with someone else. At this moment, she had finished her shower, looked in the mirror, and asked the system. I remember in the novel, there's also a scene where the male and female leads share a room after a rainstorm. Could it be? The system confirmed. You guessed right. The plot is now switching to the silent drama. From now on, you must be very careful. Z, she reassured herself and confidently walked out. Don't worry, I've been through hundreds of battles by now. No matter what strange problems arise, I can handle them. Looking at Yinshin in front of her, her confidence was overflowing. She walked over and shouted, I've showered. Unfortunately, the towel slipped off at that moment. Z, si paniqued. And as she finished speaking, a loud scream reached Xiedong. He was truly furious. Here they go again. There's no end to these people. She quickly grabbed the towel, turning to the system with a pleading look. What's happening? The system warned, in the novel, you wrote the tightly wrapped in a towel scene to become completely naked. Z, she was surprised. Tightly wrapped becomes naked? At this point, she turned to explain. Listen to my explanation. I'm not an exhibitionist. Just now a mysterious force made me take off my clothes. Do you understand? Yinshin blushed, turned away shyly. I don't understand. Out of the blue, he pointed to the pile of shopping bags below. These are the clothes I just bought from the shop next door. Be careful, they might not fit. Please try to wear them. As he finished speaking, a banging sound came from the door. Someone outside shouted, Open the door. She became alert. This time it's our room. Yinshin replied, It seems so. The knocking on the door grew more and more urgent. He went to open the door and asked at the same time, Who are you? The two police officers replied, Vice Squad. After saying that, they both immediately rushed into the room to restrain them. Don't move. Still haven't changed your clothes? What is this? Dinke. A police officer turned and said to Yinshin, Good quality. The other one ordered, Take them away. And so, the two people who were in the hotel, for some reason, were now being taken to the police station. In an interrogation room, the police officer sitting opposite questioned them. Full name, age. She cooperated and answered by Z. Shi, 22 years old. The officer continued to ask, Describe your identity and that of the person you were with. Z. Shi affirmed, Are you asking? I guarantee no one understands him better than I do. Then she began to list them. He is Zhou Yinshin, 28 years old, stable, self-disciplined, restrained, cautious, has a high sense of responsibility, and doesn't like to drink. He gets drunk as soon as he drinks. At this point, the police officer cut her off. Wait, it doesn't need to be that detailed. Then he changed the question. What is your relationship? Zishi hesitated. We are. On Yinshin's side, it seems he was asked a similar question, and he answered firmly. Our relationship. We are a couple. She is my girlfriend. After a while, the police announced, Your statements don't match. The officer continued, Your boyfriend admitted that you two are a couple. Why did you say you were colleagues? Yinshin came over and started acting. She's just too shy. The officer agreed. I can see that too. He was confident in his deduction. My wisdom and my eyes see through everything. The officer concluded, If you weren't a couple, how could this young lady know you so well? Like the back of her hand? All right, you can go. Outside, Zishi asked Yinshin, You said I was your girlfriend? Yinshin replied softly, A temporary measure. He continued, It's not good for your reputation for us to be living together, is it? Then he suggested, I'll take you back to the hotel later. I'll go stay in the staff dormitory for a night. Suddenly, she grabbed the hem of his shirt. He turned back and asked, What's wrong? Her eyes glistened as she pleaded, Can you not go? I'm a little scared. Seeing her like this, he softened. The thunder tonight seems to be strong. Inside the hotel, the two were lying on the same bed. She tossed and turned, unable to sleep. She sat up abruptly and glanced at the man beside her. How can he still be asleep? He's truly a monster. The rain outside was getting heavier. She took this opportunity to move a little closer, her breath brushing against him. It's unclear if he was asleep, but because of her, he woke up blushing. Yinshin started chanting in his head as if reciting scriptures. Be proud to love the motherland. Be ashamed to harm the motherland. Be proud to serve the people. Be ashamed to betray the people. Be proud to advocate science. Be ashamed of ignorance. Be proud to work hard. Be ashamed to be lazy. He sat there chanting like this all night. Be proud to be united and help each other. Be ashamed to benefit oneself at the expense of others. Be proud to be honest and trustworthy. Be ashamed to trade principles for profit. Early the next morning, the rain had stopped. He was still chanting from last night until now. Be proud to abide by the law. Be ashamed to break the law. Be proud to work hard. Be ashamed of extravagance and debauchery. At this moment, she felt something was off. She hurriedly opened her eyes and woke up in a panic. It's so bright already. Since when did I fall asleep like that? A female lead in a novel world wouldn't wake up with sleep in her eyes, right? She hurriedly patted him awake like a mother waking her child. No, I have to take advantage of the fact that Zhou Yinshin isn't awake yet to go wash my face. He woke up with a start, looking dazed. He turned his face towards her with panda eyes, and she broke out in a cold sweat. She covered his eyes with her hand and teased him. Go to sleep, you're dreaming. She hesitantly helped him up. This trick isn't working. After chanting all night, he deliberately stretched his neck a bit and then stated the reason. Last night, you turned over and talked in your sleep. I couldn't sleep all night. You said something about a novel world, the male lead being too patriarchal and morally inflexible. You also mentioned my name. Yinshin continued to ask, making her tremble. Can I ask what you meant by that? She quickly refused. I can't. However, she still tried to salvage the situation. Look, what I mean is, it's not easy to explain. I had a dream, and then her talent for making up stories began. I dreamed that I transmigrated into Journey to the West. In the dream, I was the queen of a country, a graceful and elegant woman, and you were that fair-skinned and shy Tang Sanzang. She not only told the story, but also got into character with great enthusiasm. By the riverbank, I fell in love with you at first sight. I tried my best to keep you, but your heart was set on the Buddhist scriptures, ignoring my love. Quietly, I asked the holy monk, is this daughter beautiful or not? She stopped the story there. Who would believe such a story she just made up on the spot? Yinshin let it go for the time being. It was just a dream. Don't mind it. Along with that, he patted her shoulder comfortingly. Get up and go to work. Seeing this, she felt a little wronged. His comfort was too perfunctory. Over at the factory, it was still raining heavily. Yinshin said to an employee, these few days, you must be on high alert. Don't let any fire accidents happen. The employee replied, yes, Chairman. Yinshin saw no problem and let the employee go. Go on with your work. He looked around and thought, the firefighting equipment and alarm system have no issues, but if it's not a fire hazard, how could it burn someone to death? While lost in thought, he heard a strange noise. He turned to look and saw She's camera pointed straight at his face. The two of them looked at each other and froze. When discovered, she turned away shyly. Yinshin walked over and asked, are you photographing the furniture materials or are you photographing me? She praised. Good materials are a selling point for our furniture. A good-looking chairman is the same. He was taken aback, unable to dodge her flirting. He gave her a light tap on the head. You sure have a sweet mouth. The manager was gossiping. Yesterday, the two of them went for a walk together, and this morning they arrived together again. They're probably in love. The manager gossiped, the serious and domineering chairman with the clumsy and careless employee. So beautiful, a perfect match. With that thought, he went over to the two of them and suggested, the food in the cafeteria is delicious. Would you like to stay and have some? He walked over and said, not just for a meal, there's still a vacant room in the staff dormitory. I'll be staying here tonight. The manager was surprised, not understanding why he wanted to stay here, but he was being very cautious. If what Jean said is true, the fire will happen in these 2 days. But until now, there isn't a single clue. Maybe I should stay at the factory to see. Out of nowhere, she rushed forward and volunteered, me too. She explained, I haven't finished taking photos of the materials. I'll also stay the night. Seeing that they both agreed, the manager of course agreed to make arrangements. And when the manager led them to the place, they both found the scene very familiar. What does this mean? The manager explained, this is our room for married couples. He also said mysteriously, there's a little surprise on the bedside table. I won't disturb you two. You two should get some rest soon. After saying that, he closed the door as if his mission was complete, leaving the two bewildered people there. She was the first to speak up. Strangers at first, but familiar later, I don't mind. Yinshin was the opposite, I mind. You go to sleep, I'll go find a factory manager to get another room. As he finished speaking, he also went out and slammed the door. She turned to ask the system, editing chick, do you feel that Zhou Yinshin is avoiding me? The system appeared and replied, obviously. It further explained, you have his child in your belly now. He still cares for you and sleeps with you. It seems his affection is still not enough. But she felt something was strange. No, I feel like he has a secret. She remarked, today he has checked the fire prevention equipment several times. She asked with some worry. Do you remember in my novel, the next plot point is a factory fire? The system asked back, do you think he's there to prevent the fire? But how would he know? She found that reasonable and began to deduce, while editing chick flipped through the book looking for answers. That's what we'll find out. When is the fire plot in my novel? Zishi just realized it's tonight. Outside, it was still raining heavily. When she went out, she saw a group of people running over. One person ran in and reported someone just ran in. The other person also shared what they had overheard. That figure looked like the chairman. She and the system were both surprised. Zhou Yinshin has rushed in. She couldn't keep calm and was about to rush in. I'm going to save him. The system tried to stop her. Don't be rash. Hey, 119 has already been called. The fire is huge. You'll die if you rush in. She ignored it and still tried to rush forward. One of the employees inside asked tentatively, are you sure the one who rushed in was the chairman? Another person replied with certainty, definitely. He was wearing a suit. Besides the chairman, who else in our factory wears a suit? But no one expected him to be right behind them. He had just walked up and asked, what's wrong? Have you contacted the fire department yet? Everyone turned around in surprise. One employee asked in astonishment, why are you here? Then who is the person in there? Another person hurriedly reported, someone has rushed inside to save you. Yinshin calmly asked back, who? Inside, the system was scolding her like crazy. How foolish. Although you're the female lead, you don't have the protagonist's halo. If you don't understand correctly, you will die. She replied, in the end, I'm saving myself. If the male lead dies, I won't be far from death either. The system was speechless about this. What kind of nonsense is this? But with your slender arms and legs, who is going to save you two in a moment? Suddenly, they both saw a figure running. She thought with a start Zhou Yinshin. Then she rushed forward. Unfortunately for her, the flames from the side had spread over. But how could the female lead die like this? Just then, a hand reached out. Yinshin held her tightly and shouted, be careful. Suddenly, he remembered something in his head, and luckily, he and she managed to dodge the dangerous spot. He used his body to shield her and try to get up. His face was filled with confusion, the dream from before. Looking down at her lying beneath him, Yinshin realized it wasn't a dream. As soon as the thought finished, he noticed everything above was starting to collapse. He stopped thinking and made escaping this place his top priority. We have to get out of this place quickly. That night, the rain had stopped and the moon had risen high. At this moment, she suddenly woke up, sat up, and hastily called his name, Zhou Yinshin. Yinshin, who was beside her, answered, I'm here. Zishi hugged him in relief. It's so good that you're okay. Yinshin asked in surprise, why are you? Then he realized she cares about me. But unfortunately for him, she was thinking in a different way. The male lead is still alive. I still have a future. The system mocked. I told you that you were being impulsive. Isn't this the male lead saving you? If you hadn't rushed in, Zishi interrupted without paying attention to her surroundings. Stop with the nonsense. Beside her, he didn't know what she was saying. What's wrong? Only then did she come to her senses and make up another story. Ah, there's a mosquito, a big fat mosquito. She diverted the attention. Right? Is the fire out yet? Yinshin explained, it's out. The screen was burned. I don't know how the fire started. But the fire spread too quickly. I guess it was man-made. But who exactly did it? For what purpose is still unclear. Yinshin added, because no one was injured, we didn't report it to the police. But I've asked the factory manager to go inside and conduct an internal investigation. She asked in surprise. No one was injured? She realized with a jolt, the plot has changed. Originally, I arranged for Zhou Yinshin to have a crisis, setting up the death of an employee, but that person didn't die. He continued, like a sword stabbing straight into her. Luckily, besides you, everyone else is fine. Only a world where by Z, she gets hurt is achieved. And then he gave her a glimmer of hope again. But I've already bought accident insurance for every employee. Her eyes lit up as she asked, so how much can I be paid? He double-killed her. Your current situation does not meet the conditions for compensation. Suddenly his phone rang. He answered it and was puzzled by the person on the other end, factory manager. Then he continued, I know, I'll be right there. After speaking, he turned to inform her. The factory manager just said they found the arsonist. She asked nosily, who? Over at the factory from yesterday, the security guard was also there and revealed the arsonists were the debt-collecting thugs. I heard them say their leader is called Xiedong. As soon as the security guard finished, she recognized the name with a start. Zixi shouted, impossible. She stated firmly, it can't be him. Both he and the security guard didn't quite understand what she meant. She knew she had misspoken and was trying to do damage control. What I mean is, you can't make baseless accusations without evidence. The security guard stared at her. What do you mean, no evidence? I am the witness. I saw it with my own eyes. He pointed to his old eyes. Look into my sincere eyes. Could I be lying? Yinshin walked over to ask for details, then tell me a little about the situation at that time. Hearing him say that, the security guard tried to recall. That day I had just come back from the restroom. He was standing behind listening. From a distance, I saw a group of thugs surrounding one of our factory employees. He affirmed the man named Xie Dong even lit a handkerchief on fire and threatened to set the person ablaze. Yinshin was silent for a moment to analyze. Shi Jin said that fire only burned one employee to death. His words match what Shi Jin said. Yinshin asked further, do you know who was being surrounded at that time? The security guard hesitated a bit. He was behind me. I couldn't see clearly, but I saw the person named Xiedong. He began to describe. He's 2 meters tall, skin as black as charcoal, eyes as big as bells, thick eyebrows, fierce eyes. He looked very terrifying. Everyone who pictured it knew who it was. She spoke up. This is leader Yinshin into the conversation there. Understand? Thank you for the lead. He instructed, if you remember anything else, come find me anytime. The security guard wanted to say more. Hey, Chairman, I haven't finished yet. He threw a punch the size of a vinegar bowl, hitting the employee's eyes with cracks. Black particles went in and out, as if a colorful silk shop had opened, and red, black, and purple particles were about to bloom. The factory manager had to grab him and stop him. That's enough. That's enough. Don't exaggerate like that. Returning to the familiar hotel, Yinshan walked over and asked her, you don't think it was that group of debt collectors? She sat down on the bed and explained, when collecting debts, it's normal to say threatening words. You can't say they committed murder and arson. She thought to herself, mainly, in my plot, there's no such setting at all. Yinshin came and sat next to her, saying, what if it was an accidental killing? While making threats, they carelessly made a huge mistake. She firmly denied it, impossible. She sat and thought, in the real world, after I started liking Xiedong, I always followed him secretly. She recalled the first time she saw Xiedong. Although he was the school bully and looked fierce, she affirmed, he was actually very simple and kind-hearted. Later, when I wrote the novel, I incorporated his characteristics into it. She was still quite sure, in my novel, although he runs a small loan company, it's his grandfather's business. He's forced into the job, he doesn't like it. Xi pointed somewhere. Over on Xiedong's side, his buddy said to him, go him damn, this character is written beautifully, domineeringly revealed, magnificent. Xiedong corrected him. This is Chunji Yinyun. Shi described Xiedong. His mouth always says cruel things, but in his heart, he pities the weak and is full of justice, only wanting to collect the money his grandfather lent out. To wash his hands of it all, she continued, hire employees, open a cat cafe, and from this, she drew a conclusion. A person like him would absolutely not do things like arson and murder. After thinking, she turned to him and said, in short, this information is worthless, the warehouse fire. We still have to start from other places. For example, she pointed directly at his clothes, the suit. She explained the clue. That night, when I went to the warehouse, an employee told me they saw a man in a suit run inside. He replied, he went in after the fire. He should have been putting out the fire, so suspicion can be ruled out. She began to argue, revealing the truth. He didn't put out the fire. Moreover, after he discovered I was inside, he still avoided me. If he's not guilty, why would he hide from me? I suspect he's the one who started the fire. Even he had a nod. This point is indeed suspicious, but he was still a bit puzzled. Why would he risk going inside the fire? If he was the one who started the fire, then why would he? Suddenly, he heard a familiar sound. Turning over, he saw her taking pictures of him again. She said with delight, capturing a beautiful life. He continued walking. Don't mind me. Yinsha was a little moved at this moment. She likes me this much. But it seems he was mistaken. She was thinking something else. I never expected my boss's son to have the potential to be a boy toy. What a charming thought. I'm in love. I'm in love. Suddenly, she seemed to realize something. Seeing her expression, he came over and asked, what's wrong? She then showed him the photo. Look at this picture. Is he wearing leather shoes? She analyzed in detail. A firefighter, when working, doesn't need to wear leather shoes. Could he have another suit? Elsewhere, the two had been following that man, just as he was on the phone. I'll figure out the money. Don't worry. I definitely won't involve you and the child. After he left, she and he both entered the room. The two of them acted very professionally. She opened the closet, and it was just as she had guessed. It really was him. As she finished speaking, the sound of a door opening was heard. Both she and he were startled. Then he pushed the door and walked in. The room was empty, as if no one had ever been there. But in reality, two people were hiding in the closet. Pushed into this situation, his face turned red. She even played cat and mouse, lightly touching his shirt. Her hand kept caressing, making him blush even more. At this moment, he spoke up. I remember a TV show, We Are Currently Very. Suddenly, the man opened the door. It seems he had spoken a bit too loudly. She spoke up, slowly. He hastily closed it in a panic. My apologies. But he never expected her to crawl out like a female ghost. 6 eyes met. The two of them finally stepped out. He stammered. Chairman, what are you two doing in the office? Both of them answered in unison, but the answers were strange. One said observing, the other said on a date. Suddenly she turned and yelled at him. Observing what? It was obviously you who wanted to seek some excitement. Don't drag me here. What if we get discovered by everyone? After saying that, she walked out, not forgetting to curse. Scumbag. His face turned pale with fear, and he stammered. Chairman, rest assured, I will keep my mouth shut. Absolutely no fourth person will know about this. Hearing that, he also went out to where she was already waiting. She smiled brightly and explained. An expedient measure. He came over and gave her a loving tap on the head. Devilishly clever. But they didn't expect him to be outside, watching the two of them leave. The evening finally arrived. He just entered the room and locked the door. She, sitting on the bed, asked, "You're back. What did the factory manager say?" Yinshin walked over, sat down, and explained. The factory manager said that Lao Zhang took leave yesterday afternoon to attend a funeral. That suit was for the funeral. Also, Lao Zhang admitted to rushing into the fire and explained why he didn't put it out. He said that when he saw how big the fire was, he got scared for a moment and ran out. Zishi smelled something fishy and turned to ask him, "Do you believe him?" Yinshin shook his head, then stated his reasoning. It's too much of a coincidence. After we passed by his office, he proactively admitted his fault to the factory manager. Now I'm even more suspicious of him. I just don't have any proof. If he doesn't tell the truth, there's nothing we can do. She confidently offered a solution. I have a way to make him tell the truth. And she did just that. She called both him and the factory manager over. Without any preamble, she asked directly, "Did you set the fire?" Yinshin was startled. Being so blunt, how could Lao Zhang possibly admit it? But contrary to his thoughts, Lao Zhang admitted, yes. At that moment, everyone's expression was different. She picked up her phone and continued to interrogate him. "Why did you do it?" Lao Zhang explained, "I owe a large sum of money. I really couldn't earn enough to pay it back. I happened to attend a friend's funeral. He died unexpectedly, and the insurance company paid out a large sum of money for him." Lao Zhang continued, "I thought that the company also provides accident insurance for its employees, and I thought if they died trying to put out a fire, they would get more. I set the fire and pretended to rush in to put it out. If I couldn't pay back the money, I would die anyway. It's better to die a worthy death, so I could leave some assets for my wife and children." He was stunned listening to him talk. Lao Zhang confessed, "But after I rushed into the fire, I saw you guys coming in too. I was afraid of being exposed, so I ran away and hid." The factory manager scolded him from the side. You, Lao Zhang, how could you be so foolish? If you had difficulties, you should have said so. The chairman is someone who sympathizes with his subordinates. Couldn't he have helped you?" He questioned, "Why did you impulsively do this?" Yinshin calmly ordered, "Take him to the police station." Zishi proudly said from the side, "I told you I had a way. Your big crisis has been resolved. Don't worry anymore." She also celebrated silently with the system. "Fortunately, I bribed the editing chick and got a card with a truth-telling function, which was a great help. I can finally get back to the normal romance plot." Yinshin, still puzzled, walked over and asked, "How did you do it? Why did he obediently tell the truth?" Zishi hesitated. Zishi stammered, "I have a card." The system explained, "This card applies to everyone in the space, which means, including you, you must tell the truth when asked." Zishi didn't know what to say now. "I have a card." She panicked. With that thought, she took a risk, walked up to him, and stood on her tiptoes. Yinshin blushed, understanding what was happening. She was forcing a kiss on him to complete the dare, and the card gradually disappeared. As soon as the task was done, she pushed him away, her face beaming for having killed 2 birds with 1 stone. The card's function is gone. The dare is successful, just as I expected. But as if reading her mind, his gaze didn't stop there. He immediately pulled her back, holding her tightly and probing with the same question from before. "You didn't finish what you were saying earlier." She was officially cornered. "Help! Is this even logical?" The anxiety was clear on her face. After the male lead of a romance novel is kissed by the female lead, can he still think clearly about the previous issues? Yinshin brought his face closer and repeated, "Just now you said, you have a what?" She stammered, "I have a..." Suddenly, she tried to distract him. "I have a silver tongue." His expression was one of utter disbelief. "Do you think I believe you?" She insisted, It's true. She explained, "A tongue of bronze and teeth of iron." When people see me, they can't help but reveal their inner thoughts. Yinshin playfully scolded her, pinching her cheek. Shut your mouth. I see you have a very sharp tongue. With that, he let her go and reminded her, the matter is resolved and the rain has stopped. Let's go back to the city. She nodded in agreement. The moon was high in the sky by now. The two of them leisurely walked back to their room. Passing by a ruined area, he looked up. Suddenly, the image of him saving her flooded back. Yinshin thought, the moment I fell earlier made me certain that everything I dreamed was not a dream, but a real memory. What Shijin said has come true. Is it true that she said she would be reborn? Yinshin wondered, why did time turn back? Is it related to her rebirth? With that thought, he turned to look at her. Does she, he wondered, know? Thinking this, he casually asked her, if someone said they were reborn, would you believe them? Hearing this, she jumped. What? Who said they were reborn? Yinshin reassured her, I'm just proposing a hypothesis. She anxiously asked the system. Editing chick, what's going on? The male lead wouldn't ask me that for no reason. The system reassured her. Don't panic. I'll check right away. She wondered, is there someone who's been reborn? I wrote a normal romance story. There's no rebirth setting. He saw her reaction and thought, what is she thinking? Behind the two of them was a familiar figure. Xiedong approached, a little surprised. Why is Bai Zishi here? His eyes followed her. The man next to her, a man's intuition told him, doesn't look very safe. A subordinate came over and called out, Xiedong, I have 2 pieces of news. Which one do you want to hear first? Xiedong asked suspiciously. The bad news? The subordinate said. I went and asked. That punk was arrested by the police for arson. Xiedong asked about the other news. So what's the good news? The subordinate's reply made Xiedong think. We might meet him at the police station today, because when I asked, there was a police officer there. He said he would arrest us for causing a disturbance. He got annoyed. This guy's talking nonsense. Is this supposed to be good news? As soon as he finished speaking, a group of police officers surrounded them. Back at the hotel, in her room, she asked the system, have you found anything? The system replied, I found it. It's Shijin. It's a side effect of the last card. The system reassured her, don't worry, I will immediately report it to system maintenance. It won't delay the completion progress of your novel. The system announced, probability of Shijin's rebirth is 99.9. She asked further, what will happen when you report it to the system? The system explained, usually, the memory of the person involved will be erased. The same goes for Shijin and those who know about Shijin's rebirth. She was still curious. So what if the removal is unsuccessful? The system's voice deepened. If it cannot be removed, then it shouted. The character Shijin will be considered for deletion. She immediately refused. No. The system was puzzled. Why? Didn't you say before that you wanted to switch to easy mode? You don't need her to be involved in the plot between you and Zhou Yinshin. Isn't it better to delete her? She lowered her head and spoke softly, but still. What's the difference between deleting her and killing her? Then she turned and pleaded, can you not report to the system first? She tried to appeal to its compassion. She has already made it clear that she doesn't like Zhou Yinshin. She shouldn't interfere with my task of completing the novel. If you don't believe me, I can go and probe a little to see what she wants to do. The system asked back, how are you going to probe? The next day, a voice called from behind. Sister. Shijin turned around. She got straight to the point. I'm reborn too. Hearing this, Shijin was stunned. The system had an existential crisis. This is how you probe? She mercilessly tossed the editing chick aside. Get out of the way. You're affecting my performance. With that, she walked over and tried to persuade her. Sister, don't you believe me? I'm really reborn. I remember a lot of things. She recounted, in our last life, you framed me in front of Zhou Yinshin. You spread rumors in the company that I had an inappropriate profession, and you even pushed me, almost causing me to have a miscarriage. Shijin blushed with shame and turned away. Don't be so detailed. I believe you're reborn. Then after a while, Shijin asked, what do you mean by coming here specifically to tell me this? Shijin asked directly, are you here to settle scores, to get revenge on me? She affirmed, heaven and earth are my witness. I, by She, have absolutely no intention of revenge. Those are all things from a past life. I don't mind it at all. She walked over, took Shijin's hand, and expressed, I just feel heartbroken that you couldn't find love. Driven mad by love. Then she suggested, in this life, let's cast aside all our previous suspicions. Shake hands with me. On the other side, the receptionist answered the phone. I'm sorry, Mr. Zhou. Manager, she has a visitor. She's on her office right now. Yinshin replied, I see. Sorry to bother you. A delivery man arrived with a package. He hurriedly made a call. Hello, Miss Bai. The alcohol you ordered has arrived. The address isn't written clearly. Which floor should I deliver it to? The rooftop? Okay. Hearing this, he immediately deduced, Miss Bai Z. It's by Z she. On the other side, it was indeed her receiving the delivery. The delivery man also said, enjoy your drinks. She brought the items to Shi Jin. The alcohol is here. She opened the bag cheerfully. Cheers to our agreement. Z Shi calculated, as an author, I can master the settings of each character. Shi Jin is addicted to alcohol as if it's her life. When she drinks, she becomes the boss of the world, and any secret can be revealed. Come on, show me all your future plans. Z Shi suddenly realized, I forgot to buy a bottle opener. She was helpless. I can't open it. Shi Jin on the side was also at a loss. Silly. Then, without needing a bottle opener, she used her mouth to open it, stunning the person next to her. Shi Jin offered the beer. Cheers to our agreement. Then she said loudly, death to scumbags. Zishi repeated, death to scumbags. Zishi still tried to defend him, but in a low voice, he's just a coward, everyone. Zhou Yinshin is not a scumbag, except for Zhou Yinshin. Shi Jin took a big gulp and then recounted, actually, sometimes I wonder, those bad things, did I really do them? Zishi pondered, could it be that she has discovered something? Shi Jin's face was flushed. She took another drink, then Shi Jin explained, after thinking about it, maybe it's because of my background that I especially hate outsiders who ruin my relationships, so I wasn't careful and went down the wrong path. Shi Jin told her life story. My mother died young. After the college entrance exam ended, my father suddenly brought a pregnant woman home, saying he had remarried. She felt bitter. The funny thing is that woman was my high school classmate. So everyone knew they were just hiding it from me. Shi Jin continued. Later, my younger brother was born. The house was filled with a baby's cries every day. Their family of 3 was happy, but I felt like I was freeloading, unable to fit in with them. She felt wronged. Many times I wanted to leave, but I endured it. She asked herself, why should I be the one to leave and make way for that woman and her child? Zishi, beside her, took her hand and then said, so you hate the child. Zishi also told her own story when Zhou Yinshin said he wanted to get married and have children. Did you think about refusing? I understand you, Zishi sympathized. I understand you, not just because I wrote you, but because you are another version of me. She realized when I was writing, I had woven bits of my own experience into your background. She now understood. Mother died young. Father is a businessman. After the college entrance exams ended, father remarried. Then the stepmother was a high school classmate. Then the stepmother gave birth to a younger brother. I had no place in that house. She recalled, the difference is, in reality, I chose to leave, but you didn't. Shi Jin then turned and said, you are very kind. I don't know if kindness is ultimately rewarded. She confessed. After harming you, I went through many unbearable things. She was in agony. This is the consequence I deserve, but it's truly unbearable. Those things are like a nightmare I can't wake up from. Every minute and every second is dragging me down. Suddenly, her expression changed. If fate and God truly exist, I want to kill them and scream. Hearing this, she became extremely worried. Zishi then remembered, at first, for the sake of an explosive plot, a great storyline, and good twists, I had cruelly tortured Shi Jin. At that time, she still enjoyed it. Cruel, the ending for the vicious female supporting character was tragic. Looking back now, she felt so guilty. Never did I expect that what I casually wrote would become Shi Jin's burden, causing her so much pain. She blamed herself. It was I who harmed Shi Jin. Shi Jin noticed she had been staring at her, as if understanding Shi's gaze. She said, pitying me? Then she refused. No need. Shi Jin explained, I'm not saying these things because I want your pity. Shi Jin affirmed, I just want to tell you, in this life, I only want to repay you. Opening a beer with both hands, her gaze became determined. This life, if that retribution hasn't come yet, I will not repeat the same mistakes. Shi Jin declared, I will try to change my future. Zishi's eyes welled with tears as she declared, I'll help you. She said decisively, no matter what you want to do, I will help you at this moment. She set a goal, to help you escape the shackles of those words. She encouraged, you are not alone in this fight. Shi Jin clinked glasses. All right. She voiced her wish to escape our predetermined fate. By now, both were drunk. Shi Jin called out affectionately, little sister. Shi Jin was happy. I'm really happy that you could also be reborn. Shi Jin asked quietly, by the way, you didn't tell Zhou Yinshin about your rebirth, did you? Yinshin suddenly interjected out of nowhere. Tell me what? Shi-jin was startled. When did you get here? Yinshin replied, just now. He walked over and took Zishi's hand. She was startled. What are you doing? He then explained, she's drunk. I'm taking her home. Indeed, at this moment, Zishi was drunk and swaying, falling into his arms. Yinshin's gaze was unusually gentle. He gently stroked her hair, his voice soft. Go to sleep. With that, he picked her up, intending to go home. But it wasn't that easy. Shi-jin stood up and warned, control yourself a little. Don't take advantage of her when she's vulnerable. Yinshin's steps faltered for a moment. As if struck by guilt, he turned back and said to her, I forgot to say, thank you for reminding me about the factory matter. Shi-jin corrected, I really didn't remind you out of kindness. I just wanted to experiment a little to see if the future could be changed. Yinshin accepted. I know. Still, I'm very grateful to you. He offered, if you need help, you can come find me anytime. She sighed, not wanting to speak. Both of them are so kind. It seems I'm really the terrible one. Returning to the hotel, he gently placed her on the bed. She wouldn't lie still, clinging to his collar. She quietly called the system, editing system. The system appeared in a panic. We're doomed. By Z, she is drunk. As soon as it finished speaking, she pulled him down for a deep kiss. The editing system also blushed and broke into a cold sweat. Is the plot of this locked chapter about to happen? It quickly decided, not suitable for children. I will return to the system space to perform necessary upgrades. He blushed, but then thought of Shi-jin's words. Shi-jin is right. I can't take advantage of her when she's vulnerable. Z, she confessed in her drunken state. I feel so awful. He seemed to be losing control. You being like this makes me feel even worse. In her stupor, she poured out her heart. I really didn't mean to write Shi-jin like that. When I wrote the novel, I didn't think it would become real. Yinshin was surprised by what she had just said. He sat up, probing for the truth. What did you say? Yinshin pressed, what novel? He looked at the girl, sleeping soundly before him, silent for a moment, not knowing what to say. Suddenly, he decided to pull the blanket up for her. Forget it. He silently watched over her, deciding to wait until she woke up to talk. After a long enough time for her to wake up, the first thing she saw was the editing system. It asked, you're awake? Z, she looked around. The editing system then explained. Zhou Yinshin's room, Zhou Yinshin's bed. Besides that, it also congratulated her. Congratulations, you spent the night with Zhou Yinshin. The system was full of pride. I have ethically avoided the main plot. I just got back, be nice. She was flustered. You're sure? It's like a sad play. I play both roles. Her expression changed as she replied, even though I've never eaten pork, I know you have to skin it. Suddenly, the sound of a door opening was heard. When Yinshin walked in, she immediately spoke in English. Hi. Seeing her like this, Yinshin said, good, you're awake. He continued leisurely. If you hadn't woken up, I was going to call an ambulance. The system boasted proudly. I mean to say, you two have successfully gotten your driver's licenses. Although the system doesn't store everyone's private data, Zhou Yinshin called an ambulance. This shows how hot things got between you two. She got excited too, as expected of my male lead. Is he that powerful? The system commented, one small step for a crab is a giant leap for the mission. She was also happy with the editing system. After working for so long, my strategy's progress has finally made a qualitative leap. Yinshin, seeing her seemingly talking to herself, now realized I didn't notice before. She always seems to be talking to someone. At this moment, he walked over and asked by Zishi, do you write novels? Hearing him ask this, she jumped in fright. He knew she had a talent for making up stories, and she acted just as he expected. She came over to explain, it's like this. I heard from Secretary Wong, his younger sister has been writing a novel recently, and even wrote him into it. Hearing this, she let her guard down. That's normal. Z, she let it slip. Unimaginable, I also often. Yinshin pressed. Often what? Z, she covered up. Nothing. I haven't written a novel yet. I don't know anything. Know the enemy and know yourself. He knew she was about to make up a story. If I keep asking, I'm afraid she'll sing a love song to deceive me. Or should I investigate it myself? With that thought, he changed the subject. I'll take you upstairs. By the elevator, Xiedong asked the brother next to him, I'm here to find by Z Shi, but not to collect a debt. What are you here for? The person next to him answered directly, Xiedong, I won't interrupt your pursuit of girls. I'm here to fight. His face was grim. Our men have investigated clearly. The owner of the furniture factory reported us on Wednesday, causing us to be shut down for a few days. I heard he also lives in an apartment complex. At this, Xiedong tried to calm him down, calling, Fatty, he advised, don't get agitated. We are civilized citizens. We can't do illegal things. The sound of the elevator arriving rang out. When the doors opened, what a surprise. Both she and he were standing there. 8 eyes met. An awkward silence. Xiedong realized it's the man who pulled by Zishi away that day. Zishi however, was worried about something else. Why have the male lead and the second male lead met already? This confrontation scene is too early. Xiedong was furious. The last time I saw this man, I immediately felt he had bad intentions. I didn't expect to be locked up for several days. He noticed Z, she clinging tightly to Yenshin. Are they that intimate? He was bitter, but could do nothing. Pain in his heart as he watched. Xiedong was about to rush forward when Han stopped him. As Xiedong aggressively tried to charge in, Fatty quickly said, "You guys wait until you're out of the elevator." Both he and she didn't understand what was happening. At this moment, Xiedong asked resentfully, "Why are you stopping me?" Fatty replied, "Xiedong, you are indeed a civilized citizen. You don't do illegal things." Seeing Xiedong like this, Fatty was resolute. Just leave these matters to us brothers. Then, elsewhere, people were bowing in respect. Their brother spoke up. "Brother Fatty, since old Master Xie passed away, we haven't had a strategist to rally the troops for years. Why did you summon everyone here?" Fatty now explained, "To fight for Xiedong's lifelong event." He rallied, "Brothers, this time we're going to go all out." Early the next morning, the doorbell rang. The insistent ringing made her rush to open the door. When she opened it, she froze. "You." Shijin arrived with 2 bodyguards behind her. Zishi asked in surprise, "What are you doing?" Shijin ordered, "Put the things down and go. You don't need to protect me from downstairs either. I'll call you when I leave." Putting things down looked more like they were just dumping them. Zishi looked at the pile of things, stunned. "Aren't we supposed to be negotiating how to change the future? What did you bring alcohol for?" Shijin explained, "This isn't ordinary alcohol. It's the medicine that can save me from my suffering." Finishing her words, she opened a case of alcohol, took out a bottle, and said, "My misfortune stems from getting drunk and being treated like a plaything." She stated her purpose, "So I've decided to practice my drinking skills to be able to drink 1,000 cups without getting drunk to avoid falling into traps." It didn't stop there. "Besides, last time I didn't drink to my heart's content. To avoid anything happening, I didn't dare to drink a single sip. Drinking with you is relatively safe." Z, she commented. That last sentence is the truth. Suddenly, the sound of a door opening caught their attention. Shijin asked, "Besides me, did you make plans with someone else?" Z, she shook her head. "No." A hand grabbed the doorknob. Yenshin suddenly appeared. She called his name, "Uncle Yenshin." Shijin didn't look very happy. "Every time I drink with by Z, you show up. You're doing it on purpose, aren't you?" Hearing this, he looked at her, more specifically, looking at her case of wine behind her. At this, Yenshin, who was suspicious, now breathed a sigh of relief. It turned out to be a case of wine. He thought by Z she had fallen. Yenshin explained, "I was downstairs and heard a loud thud, so loud that I couldn't read my documents." Then he asked, "Why are you two drinking in the middle of the day?" He was suspicious, having felt the atmosphere between them change last time. They were hiding something from him. Z, she spoke up to smooth things over. "We have something to talk about." Shijin didn't smooth things over, but said bluntly, "Why are you being so obedient? What's there to explain to him?" Finishing her words, Shijin looked at him and asked, "What's wrong?" She provoked, "Unhappy to see us in the same frame? Are you afraid I'll kidnap your precious little wife?" Z, she was trying to make excuses. "I feel like he didn't come to drive us apart, but wants to join us." Yenshin coughed lightly, not intending to interfere. You could say that. He had his own calculations. In short, he should linger for a bit to listen. Yenshin repeated his offer. "I said last time, if you need my help." Before he could finish, Shijin shooed him out and refused. No need. Shijin questioned her life choices. Why did I like him before? Straightforward and simple is not my type. I was blind back then. You also didn't expect to encounter this scene. Who could have guessed the male lead's supporting female character could break free and step back? She tried to add a few more words. "It's not your fault, it's mine." Z, she walked over and patted her shoulder. Many words are hard to say. Don't look at the characters. It's the fault of the forced pairing. After shooing him away, Shijin suggested, "Ignore him, let's drink and talk." The wine was already poured into full glasses. Zishi then asked her, "You said your misfortune stemmed from getting drunk once. Do you remember which day it was? As long as we avoid getting drunk during that time, we can evade it." Shijin handed her a glass of wine and replied, "It's not in my nature to run away." Zishi then asked, "What do you want to do?" Shijin was confident, proactive. She was determined. Rather than being careful her whole life, it's better to wipe out the one who hurt her and those behind them. Zishi asked further, "Do you know who did it?" Shijin revealed, "It was my stepmother, Zhao Miao." She recounted, after I gave my all for a business partner, my father removed me from my management position at the She Group to prevent me from taking revenge. After this incident, she benefited the most. Shi Jin's eyes were certain. Zhao Miao and that man were in contact. First, I can investigate and find evidence of their collusion and present it to my father. She listened from the side and exclaimed, "You don't seem to need my appearance at all." Hearing this, Shi Jin playfully pinched her cheek. "You are my lucky charm." Just as they were having fun, there was a continuous knock on the door. Without opening the door, Shi Jin could guess who it was. "Zhou Yinshin, will you stop or not?" But when she opened the door, it was two strange men. She shouted, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" The stranger wondered, why are there two girls? The one next to him decided on the spot, whatever, one isn't many, two isn't few, grab them both. Then the two men moved in to restrain them. Another person reported, "Hey brother Fatty, we've got them." Fatty replied, "Good, give them to Xie Dong as a gift. I'm starting over here too." On his side, they were also kicking the door loudly. One of them banged on the door and called out, "Zhou Yinshin, don't hide in there without making a sound. I know you're in there." Seeing his underling like this, Fatty smacked him, "Idiot, you're making so much noise. Everyone will know we're here for revenge." How could he possibly open the door? Suddenly, the door opened. The young man spoke up, "It's open." Yinshin warned, "I've already called the police. Whatever you're here for, however you got in, you should leave quickly or else." Fatty challenged, "Still trying to scare us here? Go ahead and call the police. It'll take them some time to get here. That's enough time for me to beat you to death." With that, he ordered, "Brothers, teach him a lesson." But he parried these cheap tricks with ease, taking a club and fighting them back. Yinshin warned, "Otherwise I can't guarantee you'll be able to leave safely." At this moment, the elevator doors opened, and the police had arrived. The police asked, "Who called the police?" In front of the two officers was a pile of people lying on the ground. The officer approached Fatty, and this guy started playing the victim. "Comrade officer, you're here. If you hadn't come, we would have been beaten to death." The police helped him up and asked who called the police. He pointed at Yinshin. It was him. Yinshin replied in a confident voice, "I was just defending myself." And so, a pair of silver handcuffs appeared. The police suggested, "Then we'll have to trouble you to come with us to make a statement." Yinshin agreed. "Okay, wait a moment, I need to make a phone call." He only just remembered her now. Just remembered, she can't drink during pregnancy. I have to stop by Zishi. The phone on the other end rang, but no one answered. On Xie Dong's side, he received a message from his brothers. "Xie Dong, your brothers have left a gift for you in the bedroom. You should open it quickly. It will definitely surprise you." Xie Dong wondered, a gift? Where? As he finished speaking, he saw a huge gift bag lying on his bed, stunned. What's going on? Why is this sack placed next to my bed? And then he kicked the gift. The person inside let out a cry, scaring him stiff. He realized with a start, there's something inside. So Xie Dong sat down to unwrap this special gift, but it didn't seem to be an easy task. Seeing another layer made him even more annoyed. He opened the final bag. Inside the bag was none other than Shi Jin. She peeked her eyes open, and their four eyes met, and a crashing sound echoed in the night. Elsewhere, two people were carrying the other bag. One kidnapper said, "We're giving by Shi to Xie Dong, right? Why do I feel uneasy?" The other kidnapper reassured him, "Don't worry, that girl looked prettier than this one. It must be her." The kidnapper was still skeptical. "Is it okay to just dump her here? Nothing will happen to her." The other one reassured him, "What's there to be afraid of? We didn't see any villages when we drove here. When she wakes up, she'll get out of the bag, find a village, and naturally be saved." The worried kidnapper said, "I'm still a bit uneasy. I feel like I've forgotten something." She screamed from inside, "Help, let me out." Another small detail, Fatty commented, "Look at you. You're anemic. Why are you still fighting?" He took off his shirt and retorted, "Because a domineering CEO's abs are never for show." Unable to get out, she became furious. "Let me out." She was frustrated inside. "Damn it." The system said, "I have already accurately predicted it. With your current strength, you won't be able to escape." She asked back, "So what should I do? I can't just wait until someone comes to save me." And will someone really come to save me? The system suggested, "There's a small village 1,000 meters from here." The system continued, "You could try to go there and call for help." Zishi wondered, "How can I go for help like this?" The editor made a very peculiar suggestion, "Roll." Time suddenly froze at this moment. In the end, it still guided her to your left, then it ordered, "Roll." She started rolling, tumbling a few times, tumbling from one place to another, getting bumped all over. The last tumble hit a tree. The editor was speechless with her. While she complained resentfully to the editor, Do you know the way or not? Do you even know how to give directions? The system replied, clearly your sense of direction is also no good. The point is, this little thing could have gone out to guide, but didn't. Only now did it say you went in a circle and came back. It was all for nothing. It looked around. Let me think of another way. Luckily, 2 people were passing by this section. The editor reminded her, some villagers are passing by. That's great. She was motivated to get up, flail around, and cry for help. Help, get me out. One person heard it and pointed. Over there, it seems like someone in a bag is crying for help. And so the 2 of them really went to rescue her. Finally, she got out and breathed a sigh of relief. But these 2 weren't very good people either. One pointed at her. It's a young lady. She thanked them profusely. Thank you. I can never repay such a great kindness. One of the 2 then said, what do you mean you can't repay it? You can repay it right now. The 2 men's eyes lusted after her. Have you heard of the Happy Covenant project on the big data cloud platform? She asked worriedly, what is that? On his side, he was frantically looking for her. The locksmith said, thank you. Next time you need a lock picked, come find me. Returning customers get a 10 discount. As Yinshan entered, he turned to the person beside him and said, call the police. By Z, she has been kidnapped. Yinshan added, have the police question the people I sent to the station earlier. It's very likely they did it. Secretary Xiao Ming immediately replied, yes, Chairman. At this moment, he opened his phone to check and saw a message had arrived. The content was as follows. Lonely Black Chicken. 10 letters, 17,788. Contrary to the regret of introducing the cat whisker line. Receive the ball. Inhale the ball. On her side, she was trying to explain. I know this person. He's really rich. I sent him a scam text. Her eyes welled up with tears. Can you let me go now? She didn't think she'd escape one bad situation only to fall into another. To think that after escaping the tiger's mouth, she'd enter the wolf's den and encounter a pig butchering scam. The strangers had no intention of letting her go. The Happiness Project, if the people aren't happy, how can this project be completed? You caught him. The pig is butchered. The money has arrived. Once we hit our performance target, we will naturally let you go. The person next to her reminded, it seems the other side has replied. The content is Lonely Black Chicken, 10 letters, 17,788. Contrary to the regret of introducing the cat whisker line. Receive the ball, inhale the ball. She was stunned and commented, as expected, men are no good, can't even write properly themselves. She spoke up in annoyance. As she spoke, a resentful look appeared in her eyes. One word is for sure, the money transfer message was sent. Give me a chance to meet, little kitten. She patted her chest confidently. It's done. The other 2 were amazed, admiring the project, a genius of love. I've gathered so many people, and this is the first time I've seen someone receive so much on the first day of chatting. The other party is indeed a rich person. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door from outside. The 2 wondered, who is it? The other one asked, did you order takeout? As he finished speaking, the door was kicked open. If you won't be sensible, then I'll have to be proactive. The whole group was stunned. When she saw, she was overjoyed. A familiar voice rang out, we finally meet. It was him calling her little kitten. That night, at the familiar apartment, he was dabbing medicine on her wounds. He just asked, were all these injuries caused by that group of people? She avoided the question. No, well, that's right. It wasn't caused by them. It was because I roll myself. Yinshin lifted her chin. Don't move, he said, then gently lit her cigarette, his voice laced with worry. Besides this, are you hurt anywhere else? Are you sure you don't need to go to the hospital? She smiled, refusing, then suggested, no need, you just need to blow on the wound. He was taken aback by her suggestion. Z, she teased. Didn't someone call me little kitten just now? Is this scary? I think you talk a good game on your app. Yinshin explained, wasn't that to save you? Only then did she get to the main point. Tell me the truth. How did you find me? Yinshin recounted. When the message arrived, it was a coincidence. I just responded on a sliver of hope. He confessed and also expressed, I didn't want to miss any chance to find you. She felt the atmosphere was a bit awkward and coughed lightly. So how did you know later that the little kitten was me? Yinshin found the scene all too familiar. It was all white text. It was hard not to realize it was you. She bit her lip, knowing she had asked a stupid question. I shouldn't have asked. Suddenly, he leaned in close to her. As she wished, he was blowing on her wound for her. She was clearly the one who suggested it, but she was also the one who shied away. What are you doing? He was at his wit's end with her. Didn't you ask me to blow on it for you? He said with concern. After going through something like that during the day, it's easy to have nightmares at night. He suggested, sleep at my place tonight. Taking the opportunity, he added, I'll sleep with you. Her heart pounded erratically. Why has Zhou Yinshin suddenly become such a scumbag. The system explained, it must be because he drove the car well last time his attitude towards you has also changed. The recent reward is very high in gold. I haven't had time to inform you yet. Continue the attack. Mission completion is within reach. Zishi didn't think much more and agreed. All right, then I'll go take a shower first. She was starting to hatch another scheme. She never expected such a good thing, a pie falling from the sky. She was determined, tonight will be a sleepless night. But then she fell sound asleep, oblivious to the world. The editor didn't know what to call this. Hey, Zhou Yinshin will be back right after his shower. Wake up. You said you wouldn't sleep. The light is on. Look at this. When he came out of the shower, he saw she was already fast asleep. His mind was filled with a constant stream of thoughts. He had planned to talk to her while she slept. He didn't expect her to fall asleep so quickly. He gently stroked her hair, worried. Your hair is still wet. You'll catch a cold. With that thought, he took a towel and dried her hair. Looking at her sleeping face, his own face showed many thoughts. Like the time before, she hugged his six-pack abs. But this time, he didn't find it very annoying. I'm really in trouble. Suddenly, her phone next to them rang. He rejected the call immediately, but the person on the other end wouldn't give up and kept calling. He frowned, both angry and conflicted about whether to answer or not. In the end, he still picked up the phone. Yinshin answered the phone and announced at the same time, "Hello, by Z, she is asleep." The person on the other end of the line asked back, "Who are you?" The person on the other side was none other than Xiedong. He asked hesitantly, "Third Master Zhou?" Yinshin corrected him, "I'm Zhou Yinshin." Xiedong excitedly suggested, "Then it's perfect timing. Let's go out and talk." At a roadside food stall, the two men sat down to talk. Xiedong was harsh with Yinshin. "Because of you, my grandfather's company was dissolved." Yinshin retorted, "Isn't that just punishing evil and promoting good?" Xiedong angrily smashed the beer bottle he was holding. He challenged, "You dare to compare?" Yinshin scoffed, "Childish." Yinshin continued, "Your competitive nature is very similar to a friend of mine. But alcohol will only mess things up and won't solve any of your problems." Yinshin asked directly, "What do you really want? Tell me the truth." Xiedong, now a bit calmer, asked, "What is your relationship with Bai Zishi?" Yinshin answered clearly, "She is the biological mother of my children." Xiedong was thunderstruck, stammering and unable to speak. "Mother, you got her?" Yinshin affirmed, "Yes, so stay away from her." Xiedong couldn't keep his composure any longer and shouted, "You bastard." He then lunged to attack, but Yinshin had anticipated it and promptly blocked him. Yinshin replied, "It's not your place to curse at me." Xiedong gritted his teeth, unable to do anything, tightly gripping the glass under the table. He intended to splash it in Yinshin's face, but Yinshin dodged it once again. Xiedong froze. "You've practiced. My kung fu was taught by my grandfather. I've grown up like this, and I've never seen anyone who could escape me." Yinshin remained very modest. "What a coincidence," he continued. "I was also taught by my grandfather." Then he sat down and suggested, "Whatever money Bai Z she owes you, I'll pay it for you." Xiedong refused. "The debt is between her and me. What does it have to do with you? Even if she's carrying your child, she is she and you are you." Xiedong admitted, "I was wrong today. Regarding your relationship, I should have asked her." Then he turned and walked away. Only then did many questions arise in Yinshin's mind. What kind of relationship do he and Bai Zishi have? Early the next morning at that familiar place, she calmly stepped out of the elevator, and what met her eyes was a panda-eyed Xiedong. She called his name Xiedong. His face was grim. He had just returned. A chill ran down her spine. How could I have the illusion of being caught by a wife whose husband cheated? Xiedong walked over and asked caringly, "I heard you're carrying a child." Zishi was embarrassed. "You know," Xiedong couldn't believe his ears, his eyes welling up, unable to keep his composure. "If you can't pay the money, just say so. How could you become a surrogate?" Zishi was surprised. "Hey," Xiedong continued, "just when my grandfather's company was dissolved, I also figured it out. That money isn't important. The debt you owe me is also cleared." Xiedong confessed, "Bai Zishi, I like you, I want to be with you." He suggested, "Leave third Master Zhou. The child you want to give birth to, I'll help you raise it. You don't have to be a surrogate for money." Z, she hurriedly explained while pulling her hand back. "Wait, I think you've misunderstood. I'm really pregnant with Zhou Yinshin's child. I'm not a surrogate." Sadness appeared in his eyes as he asked, "You did it willingly? So you like Zhou Yinshin?" Zia Yidanasha affirmed, "Ido." Z, she continued, her every word stabbing straight into Xiedong's heart. "I like Zhou Yinshin, so I can't be with you." Xiedong accepted it. "I understand. Sorry for bothering you." Z, she continued, "Then what I owe you." He gritted his teeth. "Let Zhou Yinshin pay it for you." But it seemed he had no intention of giving up. "Dare to snatch my woman?" The system appeared, beaming. "With such an affectionate confession, I was worried you would resist the novel's plot. I didn't expect you to be able to reject Xiedong so firmly this time. You've improved. She was a bit flustered. That's right, I didn't expect it either. I really do. Zixi confised like Zuyanshin. Just then, he heard the last part of what she said. Zishi recounted, ever since I was 10, I've seen Xiedong as my ideal type. When I was writing the novel, I even hesitated about whether to make him the male lead, but in the end, I still chose to create the character Zhou Yenshin. The reason is because the male lead belongs to the female lead, the second male lead belongs to everyone. I always thought I was part of everyone. I never expected to one day become the female lead. She remembered that day when someone barged in and said aggressively, "Hey, put on your clothes." Zishi was startled. "Who are you?" Zishi whispered. I also didn't expect to like him. Now, back in reality, she patted her face. An illusion? It must be an illusion. How could I like Zhou Yenshin? He and Xiedong are not the same. He's a bunch of words written from imagination. The system appeared and asked, what difficulty are you facing? There are many kinds of like, or maybe you just lust after his body. You're a perv. Zishi objected, hey, that's a personal attack. Suddenly, from behind, Yinshan tapped her shoulder and called, by Zishi. Zishi jumped, turned her face, and upon seeing him, she instinctively backed away and shouted, Zhou Yenshin, why are you here? Zishi thought to herself, is this guy Chow Chow? You can't even say his name. Yenshin explained, you left your phone at my place. He held the phone out in front of her. Her eyes were complicated. She only lusts after his body. This time, she blushed and looked up at him. Lust after his body? She stammered body. But her imagination ran wild as she pictured his body. Suddenly, she lunged forward, grabbed him, and demanded, let me get dressed and then cause trouble. Yenshin placed a hand on her forehead to check. Why is your face so red? A fever? She backed away, afraid he would figure something out, and retorted, nonsense, I'm blushing. I'm going to my room. Then she slammed the door shut, leaving him outside, completely confused. Yenshin held out the item and called, your phone. She remembered she forgot it and just stuck her hand out to grab it, then slammed the door again without letting him say a word. He chuckled, knowing full well she was embarrassed. Yenshin turned away, thinking to himself, how can she be so cute? Suddenly, Zishi called him. Wait. She cracked the door open and asked, are you free? Can you help me? She showed him a message from Shijin. Lucky charm, I need your help now. Zishi immediately said, Shijin needs us. Night fell on another building. There was frantic knocking on the door. A man with gold teeth stepped out. You're here so fast. In front of him was Shijin with a mysterious person carrying her. He commented, very efficient work. Then he pushed the door open and suggested, I'll help you carry her to the bed. The other guy heard this and agreed, right. Then he carried Shijin inside. The sound of the door closing was when she woke up and glanced over. Zhao Miao was sitting on a chair when she suddenly heard a phone ringing nearby. It was from an unknown number. She hesitated a bit about the number, then answered, aren't you supposed to be enjoying yourself right now? Why are you calling me? The person on the other end replied, come over here for a bit. Let's discuss what to do. The person added, this girl suddenly woke up. I'm a little stressed. I beat her to death. This face is so familiar. It was the old man speaking. Everything today was to help you. She's dead. You have to take responsibility too. Zhao Miao warned, if you don't come, just wait and see me expose you. I have evidence of everything you made me do. As she finished, Shijin, standing by, hung up the phone. The man screamed while being restrained. I did what you said. I brought Zhao Miao to the hotel. He begged. She's the one who made me do this. You have a grudge against her. You can let me go. Shijin stood before him, smiling contemptuously. How could I possibly let you go? Scum like you should go to hell together. She walked over and continued. Didn't you guys record my content? It's better to change the female lead. When Zhao Miao arrives in a bit, start recording. Then she turned to ask the other person, did you bring the drug? Xiedong, he spoke up. What are you talking about? That ecstasy that makes people want to die? I didn't bring it. Then the two of them started arguing. That's an illegal drug. Who did you get it to me for? Shijin questioned, stop pretending. What serious person would break into someone else's house and tie them to their own bed? Xiedong wouldn't back down. The things from last time. Didn't I promise you I would do it? We said we'd make up for it. Don't bring up the past. Shijin was speechless. Now, without the drug, how do we make them get into it and willingly film a video proving they're having an affair? I've already arranged for by she to bring my father over here. If we can't catch the adulterer in a moment, then today is a failure. Xiedong sneered, just strip them and throw them in a room. When your father bursts in, they won't know what to do and they won't be able to explain it clearly. He asserted, trust me, any man wouldn't be able to resist. She had no choice but to agree. Fine, let's do it this way. Shi Jin ordered, strip him. So Xiedong also took off the man's shirt. Suddenly, a voice called from outside. Shi Jin, are you there? Shi Jin realized, it's by Zi Shi. I asked her to bring my father. She's brought him here. While the two were distracted, the other man quietly slipped away, shouting, go to hell. He violently pushed the two of them and ran off. Shi Jin was pushed by him and was about to fall when a hand reached out. Xiedong caught her. Be careful. And so, the two had a romantic moment. Shi Jin was about to call his name, Xie. Before she could finish, he pushed her away and said, the person ran off. You? He ran out, but didn't see anyone. Shi Jin asked from behind, where's Bai Zi Shi? Xiedong found it hard to say. I'm afraid she was taken by that man. Meanwhile, the man was running very fast. He shouted, let go. Zi Shi held on tightly and wouldn't let go. Don't run. It wasn't easy for Shi Jin to catch you. I can't let her plan fail. He suddenly stopped and said, since we don't know each other, don't blame me for being cruel. The man turned around, grabbed her hair aggressively, and replied, I was worried this fire had nowhere to go. His face cunning, he continued, originally, I didn't want to hit a woman, but you people forced me to do this. Making me lose face like this really annoys me. If you want to blame someone, blame Shi Jin. At this moment, Zi Shi called the system editor. The editor pulled out another card, big bubblegum, makes whatever you want bigger. And so she transformed, her head became enlarged. While the guy was stunned, a headbutt from her knocked him out. He lay unconscious below. She was still comforting herself. Luckily, I was quick-witted and thought of that card. I didn't expect my headbutt to be so powerful. Zi Shi requested the system. All right, editor, quickly change my head back. The editor broke into a sweat and said, I can't do that. You can only wait for its function to cool down before it can change back. The system added, the effect of this card lasts a long time. Usually, you have to wait several hours. She felt like she was struck by lightning. She shouted in despair, what? My head will be this big for several hours? On Xiedong's side, he ran to find her. I'm going to save by Zi Shi. Shi Jin from behind also suggested, I'll go with you. Xiedong refused. I can go alone. Shi Jin's eyes sparkled. Are you afraid I'll get hurt? I didn't expect you to be not so bad. Xiedong replied bluntly, you're overthinking it. No, you coming with me will only affect my running speed. By Zi Shi, I'm coming to save you. He ran towards her location. This is heaven helping me. Perfect. Zi Shi tearfully asked the system, is there any way to shorten the time to change back sooner? She demanded, last time at the factory, didn't you open a back door for me to get a truth or dare card? Open one for me again. The system scolded her while giving her a slap. Young people don't want to work hard. How can you think of taking shortcuts? Actually, there's a specific reason for that. The editor found it hard to say, that card, I bought it for you from the busy fish market last time. It was an Otherworld server shutdown card. And the situation this time is not the same. But it's not like I'm completely out of options. The duration of this card's effect is not fixed. Although it has high durability, as long as it's overused, it will change back. Zixi realized, overused, that word is a bit difficult. The system mocked, use your big head. Think about how to overuse it. Elsewhere, a knock on the door was heard. Shi Jin was overjoyed to see her. By Zi Shi, you're back. Shi Jin was surprised at your head. Shi Jin was horrified. How did it get like this? Zi, she enunciated each word. Over. Use. Flashing back to just now, she was banging her head against the wall. The editor was casually counting the times for her on the side. 721, 722. You're slowing down. Speed up. As soon as the words were spoken, her head smashed the wall, crying without a sound. Exactly 980, my head is back to normal. Returning to the present, Zi, she reassured Shi Jin, I'm fine. I chased after him for you. Shi Jin was grateful. Thank you. Zi, she urged, hurry up. Then she continued, put him down. In front of the two was this man. Each of them took an arm and dragged him inside. Seeing the person on the bed, Zi, she asked, this is? Shi Jin revealed, my stepmother, Zhao Miao. Zhao Miao had been trembling and shedding tears for a while. Shi Jin recounted, after you disappeared, Xiedong went out to look for you. I wanted to go to the surveillance room to check the route where you were kidnapped. As a result, I saw this woman pass by. I had just tied her up when you came back. The two threw the man onto the bed. Zi, she suggested, then let me call Xiedong. Tell him to stop looking for me. Suddenly, as she opened her phone, her face changed, and she said to Shi Jin, oh no, I was busy for too long. I forgot about Zhou Yenshin. Zi, she asked back, what does it have to do with Zhou Yenshin? She held out her phone and explained, I thought this hotel coincidentally belongs to Zhou Yenshin. It would be more advantageous if he operated it. So I asked him for help. Yenshin messaged her, we've arrived. Zishi spoke up, they've arrived. And indeed, Yenshin and another man walked over. The man asked, what on earth did you ask me here for? He just replied, Father, you'll know once you go in. The two opened the door and stepped inside. The man was startled and exclaimed, "Zhao Miao, you people!" He shouted angrily. "So you really are doing these things behind my back?" Zhao Miao tried to explain. "Husband, please listen to me. I was framed." Zhao Miao tried to explain. "I don't know this man at all." She cried and lamented. "I was tied up here by your daughter." Hearing that, he paused for a moment. Shi Jin. Then he asked, "Why would you do such a thing?" Without waiting for an answer, he went to pick up a shirt and brought it to Zhao Miao, saying softly, "Put your clothes on first." Then he turned and called to him. "Nephew." Zhao Miao spoke up first. "My dear, let me arrange some household matters, please, first." Suddenly, a familiar voice rang out. "It seems my daughter's dignity really isn't important in your heart." He was startled and turned to listen. She only explained with one sentence, and you believed her. Shi Jin stood behind them and analyzed. "That's because being framed by a stepdaughter is more acceptable than being caught cheating." Shi Jin's father asked her harshly, "Did you really do this? Why would you do this to Aunt Zhao Miao?" Shi Jin sneered. "Why don't you ask her why? I want to hear her speak first." Aunt Zhao Miao. Zhao Miao was a bit hesitant at this point, but she still tried to argue. "You're the one who called me over here, locked me up with this man. What do you want me to say now?" Zhao Miao turned to him and pleaded, "Husband, please trust me. I don't know this man. There's absolutely nothing between us. I really don't understand why she would frame me." Zhao Miao confidently challenged, "You think tying me up here can make that old man think I'm having an affair? Too naive, as long as I say I don't know him. What can you do?" Shi Jin just smirked, then she spoke up to confirm. "You said you don't know him?" Shi Jin presented the evidence. "Then what is this?" A series of photos of Zhao Miao with another man. Shi Jin continued, "Your affair. Am I really framing you for it?" Looking at those photos, she was terrified. So she was waiting for me here. If she had just shown these photos to the old man, I could have simply explained we were friends and gotten away with it. She worriedly looked at her husband next to her looking at the photos, but now that I've already said I don't know him, she pulls out evidence that we do know each other. Zhao Miao still tried to cry foul. "Husband, don't believe her. These photos are all fake. They're all fabricated." Shi Jin produced a recording. "After this stunt, even 3 generations of your family would be scared, right? What about this recording?" She played the recording. "Shouldn't you be enjoying yourself at this time? Why are you calling me? Today's matter is all to help you. I have evidence of everything you've ordered me to do." She was out of excuses to deny it. She still pressed on to the end. "I admit I called her here, but the words on the phone are fake." And the spectacular finishing blow. They wanted to film a video in bed and send it to the shareholders to save face, at which point they would force me to marry him. That way, my video would just be a matter between husband and wife. She was paving the way today. She has conspired against me. In the future, how do you know she won't do things like this to you, Dad? The man had been listening to her in silence. Zhao Miao vehemently denied it. "I didn't. This is a fabrication. She fabricated the phone recording to frame me." Shi Jin's father got angry. "That's enough. My ears aren't deaf yet, and my eyes aren't that blurry." He looked at the woman beside him with disgust. "What's real and what's fake? I can judge for myself." With that, he slapped her across the face. "Adulterer," Shi Jin's father announced. "I'll file for divorce when I get home. You won't get a single penny." His footsteps stopped. "Yinxin," he confidently asserted again. "I know you invited me here for a reason. It turns out you wanted to help Shi Jin. It seems you still have feelings for her." Shi Jin looked at him with disgust. "Just lost a wife, so now I want to protect my daughter." Truly a profit-driven businessman. In his heart, there's only gain and loss. "However," he replied, "no," then explained, "Shi Jin and I are impossible." His gaze stopped on another person. "I came today to help the girl I like. It's that girl with the bruised head over there." At this moment, she aggressively pushed the door open and walked in. As the two passed each other, the man spoke up and demanded, "Stop!" Zhao Miao sat there stunned, tears streaming down her face. From somewhere, a pair of handcuffs appeared and cuffed her. At this point, Zhao Miao finally confessed, "I'm very jealous of you." Her eyes were full of killing intent. "Ever since we were in school, you've always been surrounded by a group of people." She analyzed. "They liked you, supported you, and helped you because you have money. No matter what you did, there were people to support you, and you would always have a rich father to back you up. Unlike me, I was all alone. Whatever I wanted to do, I could only rely on myself." She retorted, "No, it's not because of money. It's because we treat each other with sincerity. We're all friends who don't care about gains or losses." She added, "As for you, you always think about benefits, so naturally, you won't have any companions by your side." Yinshin then walked over and asked, "How's your head?" Her sparkling eyes looked at him. "It's broken." Her voice trailed off, her eyes growing heavy. Okay, fainting. And with that, she really fainted. Luckily, he caught her in time and called out by Zishi. So they quickly rushed her to the hospital. Shi-jin felt a little guilty. Thank you for coming to help me today, she continued. Bai Zishi also got hurt because of me. I will repay this debt to you all later. Yinshen, who was beside them, refused. There's no need. You heard her before. She considers you a friend, so she helps you unconditionally without needing you to do anything. Her injury is not serious. I can watch over her. You should go home. Shi-jin said gratefully. All right, then please take care of her. She turned to Xiedong and said, let's go. He struggled. I won't. But how could he escape Shi-jin's grasp? Why is there no sight at all? What is this position? Suddenly, Xiao Lu appeared out of nowhere with a greeting. Hi. Shi-jin turned and said, your information is quite thorough. Seeing Xiao Lu, he then asked, why are you here? He explained, I ran into your secretary downstairs just now and heard him say you came with a girl. Is it the girl who accidentally walked into your house last time? I came to see what she looks like. Seeing her lying on the hospital bed, Xiao Lu was surprised. It's her? Yinshen asked, you know her? Xiao Lu didn't hide it. A patient from our department escaped and injured her before. She stayed here for a while. I didn't expect the world to be so small. Hearing this, he became pensive. Is that so? The world really is small. Xiao Lu, do you ever feel that our lives are truly illusory? The dark night fell again. Yinshen gradually voiced his thoughts after accepting that Shi-jin was a rebirth. I discovered that Bai Zishi's behavior is also a bit unusual. She often talks to the air. Yinshen recounted. So, I had Secretary Wang investigate Bai Zishi in detail, and the results astonished me. He recalled how Bai Zishi had a reckless and defiant personality back then, and heard that she risked her life for her missing father. He analyzed, when a normal person lives, works, and studies, different environments will give people different impressions. When all three answers were the same, Yinshen pointed out, but everyone's assessment of Bai Zishi is identical. He concluded, the descriptions of her are like a series of labels set upon her. He deduced, from this, I discovered that everyone around me is a setup. Then he gave an example. As intelligent and capable as Secretary Wang is, although the data in his reports has never been wrong. He noticed the people around him, but strangely, he never understands the discounts at the coffee shop downstairs. Yinshen mentioned Xiao Lu, and he also analyzed that Xiao Lu is clearly a psychiatrist, but has never prescribed medication. People who seek advice from him all receive the same treatment method. Xiao Lu would suggest, you need to divert your attention. He concluded, this world is fictional. All of you, including me, the two of them walked to a quiet place to talk, are all just a setup. Xiao Lu objected, no, this whole setup thing is too ridiculous. Some people exhibit a sufficiently impressive aspect that creates a certain impression, but that can't be called a setup. Xiao Lu advised, you should get some rest. If this world is really fictional, then what are our memories? What is the relationship between you and your family? Xiao Lu wondered, could it all be a setup? Xiao Lu didn't stop. Furthermore, about Bai Zishi's situation, I feel that she. On the other side, Zishi cried out, my head hurts so much. The system appeared and asked, are you okay? You're injured. Zhou Yinshen is very distressed. The feelings between you two have progressed. There will be more gold coins in the reward. The system looked at the sparkling gold. You can earn money. Isn't that appealing? Zishi refused. I don't want to earn that kind of money. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door from outside. She became alert. She realized Zhou Yinshen was back, so she continued to pretend to be unconscious. He walked over to her and watched in silence. Acting at this moment, she was still teasing him. You saved me. I can only repay you with my body. Yinshen, not getting the joke, immediately started to go find someone else. I'll go get the doctor. She stopped him. I'm fine. I was just joking with you. Yinshen said worriedly, don't scare me. She then said to him, I don't feel dizzy anymore. My leg isn't limping either. I feel better. Can I be discharged? Yinshen agreed, but he made a suggestion. But tomorrow, come with me to a place. And the next day, she was surprised. This is a nursing home? He explained, yes, this is a free nursing home under the Zhou Group's name. My grandfather lives here. She thought simply, I remember now, I set up Zhou Yinshen as someone who likes to do charity. It turns out he built a free nursing home in the novel. She exclaimed inwardly, he is truly worthy of being the male lead for my pen, so kind-hearted. In the activity room, she still remembered what she wrote. Zhou Yinshen's grandfather's health is not good. He was diagnosed with cancer. That's why Zhou Yinshin wanted to get married and have a child quickly. He brought me here precisely because he wants his grandfather to meet this unborn child. He pushed the door open and entered. She followed in with a warm smile, calling out, "Grandpa." What met her eyes were three not-so-old men, which made her freeze. "Hello, Grandpa." She was surprised. Why are there three grandpas? Yinshin's grandfather then spoke up. Come on. We were just short one person." He pushed her forward and said, "Today, she will play with you all." After saying that, he leaned down and whispered to her, "Do you know how to play mahjong? If you don't be nervous. You just need to keep losing." Zishi was puzzled. What's going on? Isn't this so he can see the child in my belly? She broke into a sweat. Why am I being asked to play mahjong? The whole group sat down to play, just like that. At this point, she glanced over at him and asked, "What should I do next?" He gently placed the tile down. The two of them coordinated perfectly. The other three grandpas said in unison, "Bad move." The grandpas shouted, "Pay up." One grandpa asked Zishi, "Hey, that old man has played with us many times. How come his playing skills haven't improved?" Yinshin's grandfather said, "I think it's better to let my daughter-in-law play. Your hands are too unlucky." The remaining grandpa said, "Losing 2 rounds is fine. You can't lose a pair." One grandpa pointed at her and continued, "Bad move." The other grandpa also said, "Bad move." All the grandpas said, "Bad move." And so, money was continuously deducted from both of their accounts. They lost. It didn't stop there. She also went out to play ring toss with the grandpas. He looked at the scene before him, his mind suddenly recalling Xiao Lu's words about Bai Zishi's situation. I feel that she was affected by her father's disappearance, leading to a mental illness and causing delusions. Xiao Lu had suggested giving her something new, a warm family environment. Xiao Lu's words kept ringing in his ears. To soothe the pain caused by her father's disappearance, her attention must be diverted. Yinshin thought confidently, "My home is right here. I wonder if she will like it." Yinshin's grandfather walked over and said, "She will like it." He came to his side and explained, "Grandpa can see it. She and you are alike, always working hard to make us happy. She's a kind-hearted child." His eyes were full of meaning. "Grandpa can't be with you for much longer. Before, I urge you to get married and have a child quickly in the hope that after I die, you'll have a new family." Grandpa patted his shoulder. "Now that you have her today, I can also rest much more assured." Yinshin immediately called out, "Grandpa." He wondered to himself, if his feelings for his grandfather are real, then is the world ultimately real or fictional? What meaning does it have? The late afternoon sun was already setting on the trees. Grandpa gave him some advice. "You brought her to see me, which makes it clear that your feelings for her are sincere. But your feelings for her, does she know?" He remained silent, his eyes filled only with her image. He replied, "I will confess to her soon." Suddenly, she clutched her chest and cried out, "Oh!" His face turned pale. He ran to support her and asked, "What's wrong?" She reassured him, "I'm fine. It might be because I haven't exercised in a long time." Grandpa walked over and said to her, "A young person's physical condition shouldn't be like this. Does ring toss even count as exercise?" He helped her to a nearby stone bench. "You stay here and drink some water. I'll go get you a cup of water." When she saw him walking away, she then summoned the system. "System, Z," she explained. "I feel like there's something wrong with my heart. It's very similar to the situation before I transmigrated." The system warned, "This is because you have stayed in this world for too long. I have reminded you before, while you are in the novel world, time does not change. If you delay again, your body in the real world will die." Z, she couldn't help but exclaim. "But there's still a long way to go in the plot." The system urged, "Get to it quickly." The system analyzed, "Your feelings and Zhou Yinshin's have developed very well. With the power of your feelings, it can support you in leaving with the child, executing the runaway with the baby in the Tyrant's 3 treasures plot." He added, "You've also earned a lot of gold recently. There's a time skip card in the flea market. If you buy it, you can fast forward time to after the child is born." He said cheerfully, "You take your child and go back, welcoming a happy ending." But she was thinking differently now. "The two of us haven't had any conflicts recently. For me to suddenly leave without a word would be very abrupt." The system replied bluntly, "Zhou Yinshin has never confessed his feelings to you. From the plot's perspective, you are still his one-sided fawning admirer. It's normal to fawn until you're disheartened and hurt and then leave." She quietly asked, "So, if I bring the baby back and marry him, can that complete the ending?" The system replied, according to content analysis, this is possible. He was suddenly startled. You're not okay. You're asking so many questions. The two of them ended their long day, and he asked her, you've played with Grandpa all day. You must be tired, right? She replied listlessly, not tired. Grandpa is very cute. Her mind was not here now. I am a person from the real world. Of course I have to return to the real world. She told herself that no matter how well Zhou Yinshin treats me, all of this is fake. Suddenly, she called out, Zhou Yinshin. She spoke with a hidden meaning. If one day I went missing, would you be sad? Yinshin quickly understood her meaning. Was she thinking of her missing father? He answered cleverly and sincerely, I won't let you go missing. Even if you do, I will find you, no matter where you are in the world. She avoided his gaze. What if you can't find me? He reassured her, then I will wait for you. You are impatient, but I am very patient. Her mood improved somewhat as she looked at him. Back in the familiar building, she was writing a letter with the content. Zhou Yinshin, I feel I was contracted to be by your side until the baby is born for no reason, but it still didn't seem quite right to her. Looking at the floor, you could see she had already written it many times. Suddenly, a voice came from behind. I've returned from the fraudulent fish market. She then asked, is this card that expensive? The system explained. The readers said several people wanted it. I spent all the money to buy it. The card read, fast forward card. Close your eyes and open them to realize the speed of life. She screamed, what? You spent all our savings? The editor scratched his head. Anyway, you're about to complete the mission and leave this world. This money can't be taken with you in life or in death. The system remarked that the readers giving her a card was a great deal. He added, a right word becomes a wrong word. A single word can make a world of difference. A single word can change something good. She held the card, hesitating. I've lost all the white characters. I need to proactively change the good characters into white characters. She angrily threw the card down. What a scam. Then she sat back down at the desk to write. The editor asked from the side, in a bad mood? She lied to herself. No, I'm about to complete the mission and leave this place. How could I be in a bad mood? She trailed off. I'm just. Her hand was still writing the letter to him. Zhou Yinshin, she continued. I just don't know how to say goodbye to him. Her eyes were sad. The plot is already different from my novel. He really will be like you said. He'll miss me, search for me, and always wait. She thought, if he really does that, for me, it's a bit. For him, it's a matter of several years. How cruel. The system spoke up from the side. I didn't want to tell him originally, but do you know why you must complete the novel's ending? He explained. Only when you complete the ending will this world truly be freed from your words. Only then can these characters escape their settings. There's an invisible bond between you and everyone. Don't you want to help those people? Have those people truly been set free? A few days later, a bouquet of flowers and a ring were placed neatly. The phone rang, and the voice on the other end said, hello, the number you're calling has been switched off. The plane has also taken off. On the flight, she couldn't help but feel melancholic, her mind always on him. Zhou Yinshin, she prayed, I hope we'll both be free. Zhou Yinshin, I hope we will both be free. She left a letter at the door and then departed quietly. Goodbye. The flight had probably already taken off and flown far away. She said he asked her, how far are you planning to fast forward? She chose 2 years later, so as not to make him wait too long. A flight attendant suddenly made an announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Due to airflow on the flight path, our aircraft is experiencing turbulence. Everything gradually became chaotic, and she accidentally chose a year quite far away. A light emanated from the system, and 5 years later, she suddenly woke up. She shot up like a spring, looking at everything around her. Only then did she reorient herself. I think I pressed the wrong button just now and traveled 5 years into the future. She asked in surprise, where is this? She suddenly screamed when she saw a small head. What is this? A mini version of Yinshin was born. The little boy softly called out, Mommy. She thought to herself, this is my and Zhou Yinshin's child. This time she was very excited. Thank you, fast forward card, for letting me become a mother without pain. He looked strangely like Zhou Yinshin. Adorable. She was still shy as she called out, son. A bunch of children came over, and she was stunned. What kind of scene is this? Did I sow my seeds everywhere? One child asked, Zhou bye-bye. Didn't you say your mother was Sleeping Beauty? The Sleeping Beauty is clearly lying down. You're lying. Zhou Baibai replied. I didn't lie to you. My mother really was sleeping in the bed before. The boy said innocently, my dad kisses my mom every day, but she never wakes up. Another child said, then your dad must not be a prince. When a prince kisses a beauty, the beauty will wake up. She walked over and covered his small mouth. Why does this little brat keep talking about this outside? Turns out he's not my son. I already said I didn't set this up. She then realized, wait, I was unconscious before. She called out softly, Editor. He appeared, also not understanding what was happening. Impossible. The fast-forwarded life should logically be continued by the female lead you set up. Suddenly, Yinshin appeared and called out, Zhou Bai, before the birthday party, didn't I say not to disturb your mother? Forget it. Today is your birthday. I'll also. Yinshin was surprised to see her. You're awake. She also turned to look at him. The little kids, not understanding what was happening, looked at each other knowingly. One shouted, run, and so they left space for the two of them. He slowly walked to her side. Zishi commented, you're so foolish. Suddenly, his hand reached out, hugging her tightly without letting go. I knew you would definitely wake up. I've finally waited long enough. She hugged him back and asked, how long have you been waiting? He just replied softly, 5 years. Then he explained, after you were kidnapped, I had previously placed a tracking device on your phone. So when I discovered you left without saying goodbye, I immediately used it. He continued, I found you at the hospital. They said you had been taken there by the airline. Your health was completely fine, but no one knew why you just kept sleeping. She asked again. I suddenly left without a word. Aren't you angry? He shook his head. No matter what your reason for leaving was, I was in the wrong. Then he confessed, by Zishi, I like you. I'm begging you, please don't leave me, okay? She softly called his name, Zhou Yinshin. The two moved closer to each other, a kiss after 5 years apart. She also confessed, I like you too. Hearing that, he pulled her closer, hugging and kissing her tightly without letting go. The weather today was also very nice. He carried her out to the balcony while the sun was still bright. He took very good care of her. She then asked, why did you change houses? He just said that because the old house was close to the company, it was more convenient for work. After having you and Bye-Bye, and with a housekeeper in the house, it was too small. She chuckled and said, Bye-Bye sounds like a puppy's name. Yinshin leaned down and explained to her, calling him Zhou Bai is just because he is our son. I've been waiting for you to wake up to name this child. You gave birth to him. You can call him whatever you want. She gave him a gentle look. She called softly, Zhou Yinshin, can you tell me what happened during the past 5 years? Hearing that, he also wondered where to start and began with her friend. I remember your relationship with Shi Jin is very good. You must want to know how she is doing. Yinshin recounted that after getting revenge on her stepmother, Shi Jin left the Shi group and started her own career. He added that Xiedong had invested money for her. The two of them opened a coffee shop and a chain of pet hospitals. I also heard that they are currently planning to open a pet food processing factory. Although she gave up her status as the eldest daughter of a conglomerate, she has found her passion. It's very admirable. Hearing this, she suddenly changed the subject. What about you? Don't change the subject. You clearly know what I want to ask is how you've lived these past few years. Yinshin hesitated a little. And expressed his wish for her to wake up praying year after year, and recalling year after year was empty. He admitted his life was very depressing, but from now on, with you by my side, it definitely won't be boring. Yinshin knelt on one knee and called her name. By Zishi, this ring has a name. It's called Pure Love. It's the box I prepared 5 years ago. He asked her, it has waited for you for 5 years. Will you agree to wear it? She was moved. To survive, I tried my best to scheme against you. Someone like me, am I worthy of your pure love? Her eyes filled with tears, and finally, she happily agreed. I do. On the wedding day, though simple, it was very elegant. She wore a gorgeous wedding dress. Shi Jin came over and complimented her. You look so beautiful today. But Xiedong's eyes were looking at something else. Shi Jin hit him to teach him a lesson. What's wrong? Do you want to crash the wedding? He shouted in response. How could I? Then Xiedong explained. I heard that after catching the wedding bouquet, you can get married within 3 years. I want to give it a try. Shi Jin blushed a little. Zishi, in the middle, saw this atmosphere and immediately understood. The atmosphere between these two is so strange. Both of them denied it. Not at all, but they looked at each other shyly. Zishi expressed her wish that after completing the novel, everyone would be free and happy. The ceremony was about to begin. The bride was preparing to enter, her face full of contentment. At the end of the aisle, he was standing, waiting for her. Yinshin looked very dashing too. Everyone around was cheering nonstop. He gently took her hand and softly called, Hello, my bride. A perfect ending had been written. Finally, the system's voice congratulated her. Congratulations to host by Z She for completing the novel, returning the author to the original world. The ceremony was underway, but hearing this, she panicked and strongly objected. No, cancel. She didn't want to. My friends are here, and the person I love is here. She expressed her determination. I want to stay here. The system warned. The novel is over. The mission is complete. This is the only chance to return to the real world. You want to stay for them? Z She affirmed. I've decided. I can't bear to make him wait any longer. The system conceded. All right then, we'll do as you wish. The system used the last card, this card that turns a good word into a white word. I'll help you use it, and explained, the novel's ending is that the two live happily together. I'll change it to a happy life as a wedding gift for you. The editor now considered his mission complete. No need to thank me. Goodbye. Zishi called out to it. Editor, how can you decide on your own? Seeing she was distracted, Yenshin pulled her back to look at him. The two shared a sweet kiss, and the final chapter closed, but a new one has begun. The story ends here. If you enjoyed it, please give me a like and a share, so I'll have more motivation to make more videos. Remember to follow to watch the next episodes. Wishing you all a day full of energy.